You're watching National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.
How the hell are you? Salute to everybody that's here. I know we got like 5 eyes over there. We have Big Pokes 13 over there on Instagram. And it's been one of those days. One of those days. I think the highlight of my day, the one positive, well, actually a couple positive things. I got and shalom to you there, Bishop, as well. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. I don't know what it means, but I know you start all your prayers by it. The positive things that happened today, I got my VA power chair. Awesome as Foxtrot. Awesome as Foxtrot. But it will not be making an appearance at the draft in a couple days because I don't have a bag for it, and I'm not going to F it up immediately by letting Delta Airlines this time, and then in other airlines, it'll be Southwest Airlines F it up like they F'd up my Raider Galleon scooter, which has a bag. So I'm really happy about that. The other thing is I did wash my hair, so I'm good for at least 5 days. So I don't have to worry about that. J Love Weed 420 is over there. And yeah, Big Pokes, like I said, come on over to YouTube because if you want to be in the show, but this is actually a show where in a minute I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up because the guys that are here, the 3 that are definitely here, and the 1 that hopefully will be here pretty soon, between these 4 guys, a plethora, a cornucopia, an encyclopedia, an internet of knowledge about the Raiders and the draft picks available and what the Raiders can do. And if you're not a Raiders fan, that's fine. Take pills for it. But we're going to bring all of these folks on board. I'm going to start with my favorite Filipino. That's you. Raider transplant Angelo Reyes, who will be manning. He will be manning the studio come Thursday. He's got the con, as they used to say in Star Trek. So that would make him Scotty. Scotty, you got the con. I'm not going to say Sulu because that is a blatant racist thing, right? Because he's Filipino and I'm giving it to Sulu. I'm not doing that. I know you guys were thinking that. No. See, even he was thinking it. That's why he's laughing so hard. Okay. So Angelo will have the con on Thursday. And then my favorite man of, a bunch of encyclopedic knowledge is T3 Thom Jones, the man who did like a shit ton. Oh, there's my first swear word, and it was only the S word. A shit ton of Raider videos and go and T3, by the way, pardon me, make sure that you let them know how to get those videos where you did like the Raiders by the decades and all of the things going on there. Thom Jones will be doing it. And last but not least, the biggest motherfucker here, and that would be Jeff LaFontaine. His shadow weighs more than all of us combined. That's not true because Jeff. That was a good joke. Okay.
First off, I thought I was your favorite Filipino, but I guess not. So
you ain't fucking Filipino, man. LaFontaine? What the fuck, LaFontaine Filipino? Come on, man. But again, and by the way, getting back to the knock on the joke, Jeff has lost more weight than all of us combined. I can definitely see that. So there you go. I start off with the joke, and then I improvise, and I go through good things. He's looking awesome as hell, and I can't wait to see all of these guys when I can. And we're already seeing what we got in here. Bill Wollenser, thank you, thank you to Bill. And y'all think Pirates and the likes gave two fucks about race? Yeah, I know, Rock. I know. Yeah, Pirates are racist. They're sexist. They're philanderers. They're all the things that I don't want to talk about because the bishop's in here, and I want him to say good things about me when I'm not here. And he knows me because the salty dog. So that's your introduction. And now for the most part, pending another guest, I'm basically going to shut the fuck up and let the guys have the knowledge of the show because they know more and have forgotten on purpose more than you guys know on purpose. I fucked that one up. But yeah, they forgot more stuff than y'all know on purpose about people for the draft. So, gentlemen, take it away. I'm just going to leave it up there. I'm just going to do this. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, again, we want to thank everyone who's on. Shout out to everybody who's on the chat. Please press the like buttons. We're both on Captain Jack Rackham on YouTube and also on Jeff's channel, which is the NE Raider Booster Club. Either one, if you guys could just please press the likes, that really helps everyone out. April is Donate Life Month, so I want to thank everyone out there who considers organ donation. That's why you guys always see me wearing the green Raider hat, which everybody loves because it's so hard to find. Shout out to my liver transplant brother, Coach Gravy, who's on the chat right now. Thank you. And we're very fortunate to have Jeff and T3 Thom here talking because everybody basically has been going in circles talking about the draft, right? That's what we all want to know about. And now we're here. Now we're at the draft. And I remember even saying to Chris from Protect the Shield podcast, I'm kind of tired of everyone going in this circle, talking about the draft over and over again, when really I want to wait till like the very last week, because that's when we're really going to find out. And you guys have already noticed that there has been a Raider press conference in where John Spytek even had to say, "Oh, we're open to doing a trade," right? Because me and Jeff were talking about this off live, where I was saying I think this whole Genty narrative that everybody keeps hearing, in my opinion, is smoke and mirrors. Now, guys, before you start attacking me for all you Genty lovers, okay, do I believe Ashton Genty is an amazing player? Not only do I believe he's an amazing player, I watched him live. I watched him against UNLV. I followed the UNLV season. I went to the UNLV games. Ashton Genty is a very, 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 very good running back. I don't want to put too much comparison out there for Ashton Genty, just because I think a lot of the comps right now for Ashton Genty is Alvin Kamara, right? You'll hear crazy people saying he's as good as Barry Sanders, but guys, we all know there was only one Barry Sanders, so that's a little ridiculous. But I will say that one of the things that maybe benefits Ashton Genty in this era of running backs is the rules are more set for someone like him versus in the old days, they were really trying to grab and hurt you and tackle you. I don't think that's so true now, which is maybe why Ashton Genty it performed as well as he did. So I'm more into belief, just starting off before I pass it on, I'm more into belief that it's actually going to be a trade. And I think that when you hear Raiders are picking at 6, you might also hear the Dallas Cowboys are trading with the Raiders for 2 firsts and a second-round pick because Jerry Jones is crazy. And I would love nothing more than that. Trade, totally happy to let Ashton Genty go for 2 first-round picks and a second this year. But that being said, Jeff, I know you've been doing hours upon hours of these shows. Talk to us, brother. Let us know where are you at on the whole, just talent wise, right, and everything with the draft.
Just real quick, I'm posting my link in here only because it's not listed as New England Raider boosters anymore. It's been changed for now, just for a short time. So it will be going back at some point. So that's the actual link now to the channel. As far as my take on things, I'm not on the Shedeur Sanders. I don't think a quarterback that's going to sit for a couple of years is value at number 6 overall. It's not worth it. We've already got that. Tyree Wilson, this is his 3rd year and he hasn't seen the field much. So that wasn't a high value pick for us at number 7 2 years ago. I'm not on the Genty thing either. I was a long time ago, like when the season was still going on, I was thinking that. But the more I looked at the offensive line and thought about this, that what good is a running back at his caliber when we don't even have the guys up front that we're confident in that can block and open holes for him?
Bingo.
So with that being said, I'm of 2 mindsets when it comes to actual players. If Travis Hunter falls to us at number 6, just for his pure athleticism, I think it's a no-brainer. The other option is Mason Graham. Other than that, I am 100% behind trading back. And the possibilities, like say Shedeur is there at number 6, the teams that come to mind is trading with the Saints and possibly Pittsburgh, but that's a big jump going from 6 to 20. That's the only downside. But you're making that kind of move, you're talking swapping picks this year, and you're giving us next year's 1st round and your 2nd round this year. You could probably even try and fleece them for more. They want to move up that bad. They want that quarterback that bad. They'll pay the price. So I'm all on.
Yeah, no, and no, that's great. And Thom, how about you? Where are you at? Like right now, we're just setting the table for everybody because we're going to start talking about all these different talents. But when you look at that draft board, where are you at?
As the season was ending, I was thinking to myself, as much as I've heard about Genty, that to think of him going as high as number 6, I thought that's crazy. There's no way that a running back can go that high. And so I was thinking, we have other options. When 6 rolls around, it could be Genty, it could be somebody else. And then now, as close as we get to the draft, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that not only are the Raiders not going to be thinking about Genty, I think if he's there at number 6, definitely he's in the consideration. I lean more toward offensive tackle Armand Membu. That's the guy I'm kind of leaning more toward, because I've always believed that you have to start with the lines. You have to start with the offensive and defensive lines. That's how you build teams. That's how you build championships, which is something the Raiders haven't done for years. For years, they overlooked offensive linemen, not named Leatherwood, and again took a flyer on players that were, in my opinion, way overdrafted. Now, here's what I think. Just looking at the top 6 picks, I think Cam Ward to Tennessee is a no-brainer. I think everybody kind of has that penciled in already. I've talked to people up in Cleveland, and they're not high on Shedeur Sanders. Travis Hunter, I think, is one of the 2 best players in this draft coming out, and I really see Travis Hunter going as number 2. And I don't see Cleveland trading out of that pick for that. Number 3, Abdul Carter. I think Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are the 2 best players in the draft, and therefore I don't think Cleveland or the Giants back out of either of those picks. So I think you've got Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter going 1, 2, 3. Now, number 4, this is where it gets a little dicey. New England could trade out of the pick if there's enough, if it's rich enough for their value, but they really need to work on that offensive line. And I think Will Campbell, the offensive tackle out of LSU, is going to be the first offensive lineman off the board, and I think he goes to New England at 4. Number 5, now this is the interesting pick. The Jaguars certainly need offensive line help to protect Trevor Lawrence, but if you have a back like Ashton Genty who's on the board, and he's been in, and the comparisons I've heard are Marshall Faulk. Because he can catch the ball, and I know that's a big ask, but he can catch the ball and run as well. I wouldn't jump on that comparison if I hadn't seen him play personally. I think it's a fair comparison at this point. Now he's got to have protection. He's also got to be injury free, and those are big things. Some of the best backs in the league over the course of time have been injury free. So Genty could go to Jacksonville, or Jerry Jones could pull that trigger and move Dallas up to the number 5 spot and mortgage everything to get Genty, for fear of the fact that if Genty falls to the Raiders at 6, there's no way they're going to trade Genty to the Cowboys. I don't think. They're either going to pick him, or Dallas, knowing that, is going to have to jump up and grab him before he hits that number 6 spot. So that's kind of where I see it. So if Genty's gone, I think the Raiders go with Vimbo. I don't think they trade down. If Genty is still on the board, they could very well go with him, but I think that Genty is going to be gone at number 5 to either Jacksonville or Dallas.
All right. Well, let's for if you guys are just tuning in now and you're listening to what we're talking about, a lot of the names that you mentioned, again, it needs to be understood to everyone that one of the great things about this draft is, unlike last year's draft where everyone was quarterback hungry and there was actually at least 6 good ones, right? This is one of those drafts where there are so many good players, just good players, right? Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham. Like, they're even talking about the tight end kid from Penn State, right? Tyler Warren, I believe it is. And that he could be a top 10. That really, it starts to now come down to need. And I think where it throws a lot of Raider Nation off is we have so many different needs, right? But with that said, and you were talking there, T3, would you really, like, if you think about it, and Jeff, I know, loves this idea. If we get the 6 and somehow Mason Graham is there, and in a lot of different drafts that I've seen, mock drafts, whether it's a Daniel Jeremiah or whatnot, some of them will say Mason Graham might actually get left out because there's this whole narrative about Ashton Genty getting picked by the Raiders. But really, is anyone here denying a, 320 pound, 315 to 20 pound monster in the middle defensive tackle that would be a day one go-to starter, possible star right away, kind of like how Jalen Carter changed the Philadelphia Eagles, would become that for the Raiders. Captain, what are your thoughts on that? If Mason Graham, for example, was available, would you be one of the people that would get upset that we passed on a Mason Graham, let's say, to go get an Ashton Genty?
No, actually. Okay, what's the background?
Yeah, she's a Yorkie.
I don't know whose background that is.
She was actually cute. It was
Okay,
Is that your background, maybe, Jeff?
I don't know. And I even have my porn off, so there should be like a girl going like, oh yeah, Big Daddy, give it. No, that's all. So it's not me. Okay, I don't care about that. But to your point, yeah. In fact, in the mock draft that I was supposed to be doing, was it last week or when? I think it was last week. Yeah, the shit show, and it was a clusterfuck, and people tuned in, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And I said, by the way, when it fucked up the first time, I said, here. Chatterbait. No. I don't know what Chatterbait is, but I got one of those VIN or VPN, so I can actually watch it in Florida. Thank God for a VPN. Anyway, if you guys don't know, Florida is one of those states that went really, really, whatever.
VPN, video porn.
Anyway,
yep.
Yeah, the good porn network. I said, this is what I want in this order. I said, if he's available, Mason Graham. That was my first pick. The second pick was Will, the kid from the cornerback from
Will Johnson.
Michigan. Okay.
Yeah.
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson. Right. Will Johnson, because Will Howard's the Ohio State quarterback. Will Johnson is the Michigan cornerback. So I said, I want Graham first, Will Johnson second. And I was like, yeah, I said, no, never mind. I want Membo or the LSU tackle as my second pick. And I changed it. So I had Graham, Membo, or the LSU kid. And those were like whichever one was available. Then it was Will Johnson. And then it was like, then the fourth guy I had was the Walker, the edge from Georgia. I said, those are my picks.
Jalen.
That is what I want. Fucking do it, right? And then, hi, IE, what's going on there on Instagram? Run over to YouTube, you son of a bitch, you fucking IG guy, and you go to YouTube, IE. Anyway. And those were my picks. And then when it came to time for the picks, and I gave it over to Bolt Brothers Broadcast, because he's the one that brought me in. Yes, there are some cool Charger fans. They're very few and far between, but the cool ones are really cool. And I said, when the Raiders go to pick, and I gave them my list. So I'm waiting. When the pick came, oh no. It auto-picked Ashton Genty. And I'm like, what the fuck? I could have done that. Auto-pick. Fuck you. And I went to Bolt Brothers, and he said, dude, it was an auto-pick. I said that Captain wanted Graham, and Graham was available. And I'm like, motherfucker. So that's why it was a clusterfuck. Not only was it a clusterfuck, not one night, 2 nights, and then when they finally got it fixed, I'm like, I don't want no fucking part of this. It was a nice endeavor to try to get content coordinators from all 32. And they got a lot of them. They didn't get all 32, but that was it. So I'm like, I wasted, and Jeff was there watching. Jeff was there watching for the 2 hours of the clusterfuck on the first night and the second night. And I finally said, I don't want, but I know, long drawn out. Yes, I want Graham if he's there. Okay. That's who I want. I want Membo as my next up. Okay. And the reason why I didn't put Hunter in this mix is I don't think Hunter gets the 6, but you know, I would do a Travis Hunter. I would do a Travis Hunter, but that's it. Go Graham, Membo, Travis Hunter, or if the LSU kid drops, and then do, you know, Johnson, and then do Walker, and then trade the fuck out of the pick, which I would probably at that point, if all of those guys are gone, I'm trading back. Who wants Sanders? Who wants Ashton Genty? Who wants Javon White, or who wants whatever? Trade back. Get more picks, because this draft is going to get you a lot of starters from day one. Yes, there's going to be the rookies, but they're going to be competent rookies with great coaching. And I said great, like Tony Tiger. We haven't had in a while. So that's my take. I'm sticking to it. Ruiz2674 over on Instagram. How you doing? Come on over to YouTube and watch all of the guys here. Go ahead. Somebody take it.
Just real quick. The only way I would take Genty at number 6, in all honesty, now, granted, I'm not knocking him. He's definitely, just like you said, Angelo, at the start of this, he's a great running back. There's no two ways about it. If there were only, say, like maybe 4 or 5 good running backs in this draft that were worth the crap, and we had to pick number 6 and we needed a running back, by all means, take him at that point. But when there's this many running backs in this draft that you can still get in the second round that are going to be a starter for you pretty much from day one, just like everybody thinks Genty's going to be also, then you can hold off on a running back in the first round. That's my thought process on that. My only negative on him is his pass protection isn't the greatest in the world either. And anybody that says running backs don't need to pass protect, you don't watch football. Because if a running back ain't pass protecting, he's not doing part of his job. And that's part of his job. You know, he's not just out there to run the ball, you know. Same thing with receivers. Receivers aren't out there just to catch the ball. They block downfield. You watch some of them. Just watch Jacoby Myers. He's one of the best ones out there at it. He will put his body on the line to block. You know, so it's not just running the ball and catching it out of the backfield. Blocking's a big part of it, especially when you got a weak O-line. So
yeah, no, I
you gotta look at it that way too.
Yeah, no, and I was just trying to set the table about it, because when we're talking about these players, and again, if you're just joining us now, when you keep hearing these different names like Armand Membu, right, or Will Campbell, or Mason Graham, these are not just athletic giants, but they're day one starters, day one impact starting unit. And just like Thom had mentioned, I can't remember the last time the Raiders really said to themselves, let's focus on what made us the Raiders, which is the trenches, right? That's why it was such a big deal back in the day, when people like me can watch it on old tapes about Gene Upshaw, right? And Art Shell, and that great O-line that we had. And then we even had this idea of we're going to pick a center, and then that center is going to be the center of the future before we pick the next center, right? And we had 3 lineages of great centers that all went together. And now we have that on what we're hoping is Jackson Powers Johnson, right? So if we have a Jackson Powers Johnson in the middle, and then we're really hoping that the DJ Glaze experiment that happened last year continues on an upward trajectory for him to remain the starting right tackle. That left tackle spot, me and Jeff had talked about before too, about Colton Miller. There's a reason why they're already putting out in the news that Colton Miller is looking for that extension. Now, going into draft day, Thom, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Colton Miller, if somebody were to trade for him, would also have to take about $13 million. So really, I don't know too many teams that are going to be willing to give us a second round pick for a Colton Miller. I wouldn't want to necessarily give him up for a third round pick, just knowing that having a Colton Miller as a captain in our team and him being a first round pick for us, extending him and restructuring his contract would be better for us. So with that said, I got a right tackle, I got a left tackle, and I got a center of the future. I don't have any guards of the future. I need a Gene Upshaw, right? I need this to happen, right? But and you had mentioned that too, Thom. So think about this, and going again to that original question: if we get to that 6th spot, and there's a lot of people that got excited about Ashton Genty, and again, none of us in this panel, for anyone who's going to attack, is saying Ashton Genty sucks. There's not one of us that says that. We're all saying, "Oh, he's great."
No.
We're just saying that for us as a team, we don't necessarily need the best running back when what we really need is to start from base. But what are your thoughts on that, though, Thom? Like in terms of what kind of talents are we passing up?
Yeah, number one, I think that the extension gets done. I think that Colton Miller's happy enough in Vegas, and I think Vegas will do right by him and keep him in the fold. So I've heard talk here and there, but again, I think is going to happen. And I know that some people are saying his time is done. They need to move off of him, but I think that you need that experienced captain along that front. As you bring in more pieces. Now, Jack and I were on last week, and here's what I said. I told him if I were the GM when the number 6 pick came around, I would take Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan. That was who I was going to pick. And if his medicals check out, because you need to have a good, solid cornerback, and he's a big cornerback too. And I saw him play. I saw him play a couple of years ago, and he had a stellar season leading them to the national championship. And then I said in the 2nd round, I would pick up Travion Henderson, the running back out of Ohio State. That would be my running back pick. So, again, that would cover the cornerback spot, and it would also cover the running back spot. Now, again, you don't get that 5th-year option out of the running back, but in this day and age in the NFL, I'm not really sure you need that. You get the 4 years, and they've either earned their keep and they've gotten the extension to that point, or you bring in another fresh body at that point. So my whole take from last week was, if I were the GM, I would pick Will Johnson, the cornerback, at number 6, and then I would circle back around and grab my running back in round 2.
And if it's not Henderson, and Matt Marinovich said it as well, it's Judkins. And both of those kids from Ohio State know the system. And you can't tell me that knowing the system of who our offensive coordinator is, because Bishop was saying it's not necessarily the players, it's the coaching. Well, if you got a offensive coordinator that has the wasta to do what he's done for a while, great OC. He sucks as a head coach, which I'm glad that he's not our head coach. He's only the OC. But he has that offense clicking, and he can have our offense clicking. And that's why I said get Henderson or Judkins, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe in the 4th round you get the Will Howard, who already knows the system, that knows that he can sit behind Geno for a while and just soak it in. I'd take that. You don't necessarily need a quarterback that high. If you're going to get a quarterback that high, you better get somebody that has a good arm, that has good football smarts, and it is what we are looking for. And there are plenty of really solid, and I say solid, quarterback choices. Whether they pan out or not, that's up to the team and that's up to the player. But when you got somebody like Ewers and Howard and the kid out of Louisville, they got and even the kid from North Dakota State, the quarterback factory. There's a shit ton of good quarterbacks that can be made. And you don't have to expend a lot of draft collateral for them. And at least with Will Howard, he knows the fucking system. Like Judkins and Henderson would know the system. And I'm just saying on that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think I think in every draft, no matter what, you should always be drafting a quarterback or grabbing one as an undrafted free agent. There's going to be some that are going to be undrafted free agents, but you're not going to have to waste a draft pick. But there's two things I want to address real quick. Sharif mentioned it about Ramsey, trading for Ramsey. I'm all for that too, but I don't want to give up anything higher than a 5th round.
Yeah.
So 5th round pick for Ramsey solves part of your cornerback issue right off the bat, and you don't have to worry about drafting a cornerback in the 1st round. You can wait a little bit. Second, you got to look at the running back situation though too. Like you're saying, Henderson and Judkins, they're 2 totally different style running backs. That's the thing. You're talking about a bruiser back in Judkins. He's the bigger of the 2, whereas Henderson is the smaller, speedier type back. One weighs like 205 pounds. The other one's 221. So Judkins, if you're looking for that bruiser type back, which would fit with us right now because Mostert's the smaller, speedy back. He would be like your 3rd down type specialist, whereas Judkins would be your regular starter running back, and then your change of pace 3rd down back would be like Mostert, where he comes in with that speed, and everybody knows he's got blazing speed. There's no 2 ways about it, even at his age. So you got to look at the running backs, because if you grab one of them, they both have different attributes based on that. So that's the one thing with the running back. So when you're looking for a running back, you got to be looking for a guy that's bigger, like Genty. I mean, Genty is a bigger running back. He's a bigger beefer. He's a punch in the mouth type of guy. Like Scatterbo is the same way too. I just don't see Scatterbo lasting long in the NFL. He's too much of a bruiser. He'll go out of his way to hit somebody. That's just what I see with him. So I'm done.
Well, if he doesn't go into, I got $5 because EMAC bet that he was going to be a 1st round running back. I said that's the easiest bet I made. EMAC, the kid from Seattle that is he calls himself my favorite troll. He says shit just to incite. But he said that Scatterbo is a 1st round back. I'm like, no, he's not. I'll bet you $5 because God forbid if somebody. I said, God forbid if he does, I can afford to lose $5, and a $5 from him is good. And also, what was it? I can't remember the gentleman that has a beer bet on Ted McMillan going into top 15. And I'm like, I said, that's about what I said, but I think maybe past 15. So I took it just to take it. So I might owe, I can't remember the guy's name, but he'll come to me if McMillan goes in the top 15. He says, Captain Jack, you owe me here. Okay. It's not like I'm not going to pay.
Yeah. Are you talking about Matthew Golden? Were you talking about Matthew Golden, Cap? Instead of Ted McMillan? Or
Ted McMillan in the top 15.
He's going top 10, so you're going to remember that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting just because in the last 2 weeks, Ted McMillan has been dropping in a lot of the experts draft boards just because, again, he's not that quick, that fast. Playing with Arizona. Currently, right now, Daniel Jeremiah has Ted McMillan going at number 22 to the Chargers. Just so that you guys know.
There's a big knock on Ted McMillan's work ethic too. He does not read film and he does not view film, and he's made it a point to bring that out. And that's dropped him down the board. I mean, if you're going to be that way, don't announce it, particularly right before the draft. Now, I have him going at number 15. Now, Captain, if 15 is a push for you, then there it is. But I have him actually slotted it going to the Falcons at 15.
Right, and I wanted to mention, Jeff, go ahead, Jeff.
I would pay on 15. I would pay. I said, okay, you said top 15, I'd pay. It's only a beer. So
I was just gonna say, and again, when we started the show, one of the things about this draft is I'm going to throw out some names to you guys. And this is what I mean about how the Raiders being at position number 6, once the first 5 picks gets picked out, number 6 might be worth a lot to certain people, like a lot of just depending on who wants what, right? But we've already mentioned names like Armand Membu. He's a beast. offensive tackle that could be day one as a guard because he's got the nice long arms but good quick legs. We got the Mason Graham thing. Jihad Campbell, Captain mentioned that, right? Everybody's excited about that guy as a linebacker right now. Will Campbell, we already know, short arms, fast feet, though, and he seems to be built to be eventually a left tackle, but can definitely start as a left guard right now. I'm going to mention a name that none of you guys, I'm really surprised neither one of you said, but Jedi Barron has been climbing the boards fast as a cornerback, and he can go as high as number 11 for the 49ers. He might go before Will Johnson. Another name that's starting to climb, and like you were saying, Tom, it climbed over Ted McMillan is Matthew Golden from Texas. Also, Matthew Golden as a wide receiver climbing up. Malachi Starks is really starting to heat up at that top 15 spot now if you need a safety, right? And Tyler Warren, who I mentioned in the beginning of the show. I know he's a tight end. We don't need him. But a lot of other teams might really want a guy who's supposed to be the next Rob Gronkowski or, Travis Kelce or whatever they want to call him. But he seems to be the real deal. But yeah, I mean, we're with so much talent, and I'm naming all these different talents. I think that for the most part, we would be happy on a trade down. My question then is, how far down, Jeff? Who, if a number 30 is willing to call you, how far down do you want to go if you're going to trade?
If they want to jump up
Better
to
be
number
rich.
30, you're going to fleece the shit out of them. I'll tell you right now. Who's number 30? Let's just look real quick, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, no, number 30 right now is the Buffalo Bills.
30's Buffalo,
so if the Bills were to call the Raiders and say we want to come up to 6. But my question is, no matter how much they're willing to give us, we've made this mistake in the past. I don't remember the year right now, but I do remember us doing this whole, we were the number 3 pick. We chose to trade down, then we traded down again. And I don't remember any of those players making
2013.
that draft,
and
right?
we end up getting a damn cornerback out of Houston.
Thank you. You do remember, Tom, right?
Just coming off the surgery table.
Right. So I'm all for the trade down game if it makes sense, Jeff. But that's why I asked the question.
Well, it depends on who. It depends on who the team is and what they're offering, because you may not only be able to fleece them for picks, you may be able to get a player off of them too. One of immediate need for us, because that's not outside of Pete Carroll's realm. You look back through his drafts. Number one, he does not like staying in one spot. He moves around the draft board. His history in the draft is all over the place. And he does a lot of trading for players too, and offering up players too. We know what his history is. Spytex, we don't know what his history is. Yeah, he was a part of the GM squad in Tampa Bay. So yeah, he had his hand in it, but this is his first real draft and actually being hands-on with the decision. So we don't know what he's going to do himself. When he was in Tampa, they did move around the draft board, but nowhere near as much as Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's draft history is just like a roadmap. It's everywhere. So I don't think, I would be shocked if we stay at number 6, because he knows how many holes we need to fill with this team, how valuable bodies in the building count and competition counts. So I'm willing to bet I'm not going to be shocked if we trade away number 6. Not at all. Now, and what we can get for it, if it's a team that needs a quarterback and there's a quarterback there that they're looking for, even if it's Jackson Dart, even if somebody has a feeling that Jackson Dart's going to go way before they pick and they want him that bad, pay up. Other than that, if you don't want to play ball with us, then guess what? We'll stay where we are and we're going to take who we want. Good luck getting the guy you want, because he may be going by the time it's your turn. They may say, whatever, and just go with the team behind us. But don't forget, Jets are right behind us and they need a quarterback.
Right. Now, I'll say this so that I could set this table
so will the
for you guys. You could discuss this. But from number 25 to number 32, I don't think any of those teams are willing to trade up as high as number 6. And that's the Houston Texans, the Los Angeles Rams, the Ravens, the Lions, the Commanders, the Bills, the Chiefs,
What's up,
or
AL?
the Eagles. I don't think any one of those teams are going to give the house to go as high as 6. Now, you look at number 24 at Vikings. Vikings isn't trading to anyone except for trading down because they only have 4 picks. So they need more picks. They're not trying to go up.
The Vikings are going to trade down, and Washington at number 29, they only have 5 picks in the draft. They're going to trade
and
down.
They're going to trade down too. Right. So now check this out. Green Bay's 23. I don't think they really are looking to trade up. They have a young team, so they're going to be sitting pretty. Number 22 is the Chargers. We're not trading with our own division. The Steelers, the Steelers don't like to trade anyway. They're just going to wait it out. And then number 20, guys.
Though, Angelo, real quick, Steelers they're in purgatory right now. They've got nothing. Their best option for quarterback right now is Mason Rudolph. Okay, do you want to do a Jackson Dart with him?
They could take Jackson Dart at 21
if he makes it to him. That's if he makes it to him. Some team could pull a fucking fast move and say, "Screw it, we're taking him."
Right.
If they have hopes and dreams of getting their quarterback position solidified in this draft, they're going to have to do what they're going to have to do.
I'm going to make a prediction right now, a real quick prediction. And Jack asked me last week, he says, "What's your big shocker in the draft?" I told him, I said, whoever Shedeur Sanders is drafted, that's going to be the shocker. And I'm going to make the prediction right now that Sanders drops to Pittsburgh at 21, that he's there on the board. Nobody trades up, and they take him at 21.
That's a really good take, Tom. I could totally see that too. You're absolutely right. Shedeur is one of those characters in the draft right now that's kind of like Geno Smith was when he was coming on that draft. I think that was the year, Tom, that we were picking 3rd, and then we kept trading down too, because there were even talks about us taking Geno Smith, and then you remember Geno ended up getting picked in the 2nd round, like number 7 or something like that. But anyway, so number 20 is the Denver Broncos, which we're not going to trade with. So the first real trade partner, I'm just going to throw it out there, at number 19 would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So my question then is, are you really willing to go all the way down to picking number 19? Any of you? Number 19 is pretty far.
But if the fake Pirates offer up the 19, a 1 next year, and then a 2 immediate, something like that, if they want to go from 19 to 6, and we swap to get to the 19. So we got the 19, a 1 next year, and an immediate 2, and maybe something else. Maybe it's one of the players that Spytek knows on the team, and say, "Hey, we need that guy." Yeah, I do that, but it's got to be a 1. It's got to be like a Lawrence Welk trade. 1 and a 2 and a 3. It's one of those type of things. For those people that don't know Lawrence Welk, you don't get it. But anyway, if you can get a Lawrence Welk trade out of that, then you do it, because it's only swapping. What is it? 13 spots.
Well,
minus the
now,
bubbles.
Jeff,
the bubble.
Now, Jeff, just so that you know. Just so that you understand, and let me know what you think. So you're going to go from 6 to 19, right? If you are even willing to allow it. But some of the names you're going to be missing out on are some of the names we've already mentioned. So at 19 now, you're looking at, other names, but none of the big boy names that we talked about. So is that as far down as you're willing to go to 19, or no? You're not going to do a 19?
Again, depends on what the offer is. Either way, that's if you're answering and you're listening. Plain and simple. You have to. You got to listen, and you got to seriously consider all your options. Hell, I'd even field a phone call from Detroit if they want to move up to number 6. Guess what? You want to move up to number 6? Send us Amon St. Brown. Send us him.
That would be nice.
So bad. You want to go get Mason Graham, or you want to, let's say he makes it to number 6. You want you want Abdul Kader that bad to pair him on the other side from oh my God, why am I drawing a blank on the kid's name? Hutchinson. then guess what?
Right.
We're asking for the world from you. We want your number one wide receiver. We want your top playmaker. You want that bad.
Right. Right.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's the
Yeah.
only way I'd move up that far.
Well, I mean, again,
in the first round.
Well, Jeff, that's why I threw it out there too, and I wanted to know where you're at, because when we're talking about the trading down, and you and I did this when we did the very fun draft where we were doing a draft where we did keep trading down. Yeah, but every time we traded down, we ended up getting players that we really wanted, right?
Yeah.
So it worked out for us. I'm just saying that in reality now, right? If you're Spy Tech and you're the young GM, the whiz kid, you trade down to your former team, man, it better be for a lot more than 2 firsts and a second. Because
I don't see us trading that far back. But I mean,
I don't see us trading that far back either. But I want to throw it out there because I think that's about the cap. Like Tampa, I don't think we're going to trade before that. So now it turns into the whole, all right, man, we're going for these different picks. So I always throw out the Cowboys. What do you think, Thom? Is the Cowboys crazy enough to call the Raiders at 6 and offer the house?
Oh, no, I'll answer that right now. As soon as you say that, are the Cowboys crazy enough? The answer is yes. So you got to pontificate a little bit more.
If Genty's still there, if the Cowboys have not worked a deal with Jacksonville, and Genty's still on the board at 6, oh yeah, the Cowboys are going to be on the horn, and it's just a matter of how much they're willing to give up. And I would move down to the number 12 spot, because I'll tell you this, I'll tell you who probably will be there at the number 12 spot, and if they do trade down, there is a really good offensive tackle swing guard out of the University of Texas named Kelvin Banks, who may end up being the second best pick, the second best offensive lineman in this draft. You drop down to number 12, you pick up some extra draft capital from the Cowboys. You're still going to get your running back in round 2, and you pick up a starter on that offensive line. So I'm definitely answering that call.
Get your own number 2 pick too.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, Thom. In the experience that you've seen, especially with Raiders and trading down, what would be your minimum offer? Like, what does the Cowboys have to give you at the very least in order for them to go from 12 to 6?
Oh, they got to give me their number 2. We flip ones, and they get the 2. So that would give us 2 second round picks in addition. Jack's going for a third as well, but I'll tell you, the Raiders really need. I
want the 12. I want the bubbles. I want the 1 and the 2 and the 3. I'm serious.
The Raiders need 3 or 4 starters out of this draft.
Jack stole my thunder.
And if you can pick up an extra second round pick, and then you've got your first round starter, and you get 2 starters out of the second round, and probably conceivably a starter out of the third round, that's gravy to me. So I would say again, there you go. That's what I would do. I would entertain that call. I'd move back to 12, but no further back to 12.
I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Well, ever since Derek Carr came out with this injury now where he's not going to play this year. Trading, if Sanders is there at 6, trading with the Saints, if they're willing to move up 3 spots, we swap picks, give us their second, and then if Genty's still there when we pick at 9, Cowboys want him that bad, we'll move from 9 to 12, give us your second rounder also. Now we've got 3 second-round picks plus our third, and we still get a first-round pick. So
Sanders
you've
is not
got
going
5
that high.
picks in the first 3 rounds.
My only pushback on that is,
Jeff, and I'm sorry. I just say essentially. I said I actually said trade to 9, trade to 12. It can happen. It can happen. You move down twice, you pick up at least 2 or 3 picks, and then you're set. You're at 12, and you get whatever the hell you want. That is the pick of the litter, and you get a shit ton of really good guys in the second round. Go ahead, Angelo. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying I agree with Thom on this about Shedeur Sanders. My only pushback to it, and that theory that Kenna put out and you're agreeing with, Jeff, is when you look at the board, the Saints, they don't have to trade up to get Sanders, because we look at all of this. Unless Sanders gets taken in that first 3, I mean, you tell me the Jets aren't going to get Shedeur Sanders, so who cares? Carolina's not going to get Shedeur Sanders, so why would the Saints try to trade up?
You pull the same trick right out of from the movie Draft Day. You hoax them into it. You poker face it with them, is what you do. If for some reason they call or you call them saying, "Hey, you interested in him?" Because what, they call you looking for a possible trade. You just put the rumor out there that you're seriously still considering taking Shedeur. If Shedeur is still there at number 4, you start sending that out there. You start putting it out there that that's who you're looking for. You send that to the insiders and let them put that out there, and that'll get the Saints a little hot under their feet. They'll be like, "Ooh, now what are we gonna do?" Well, that means we either got to go Jackson Dart or we just wait until later.
See, I thought all along that the Saints would be a prime trade out spot and that they'd be ready, but they're not going to pick a quarterback at number 9. They've got too many needs.
They're going to be in the same situation.
If Will Johnson is there, the cornerback, they've got to replace a cornerback. They've just got too many hot mess needs. They're not going to risk everything on an unproven quarterback, somebody who's overdrafted. Again, as I mentioned to Jack, my shocker is going to be wherever Shedeur goes. Where he's either going to go too high or too low.
Yeah, no, and I love that you're saying all of that, Thom, because I really am dead on agreeing with you on a lot of these things. I think that the Sanders train rode. Now, I'm not saying somebody won't be crazy enough to take him in the first 3. All right, the Titans, who knows what's going on in their head, and you know what I'm saying. All I know is that if Sanders doesn't go to New York, and doesn't go to Cleveland and doesn't go to the Titans, from 4 to 8, none of those teams could care less about Shedeur Sanders over talents like, and this is what I was saying, Jeff, over talents like Mason Graham, Armand Membu, Ashton Genty, Jalen Walker, Travis Hunter. Like, there's too many good talents to pass up if between the 4th pick and the 8th pick to pass up. So I think that New Orleans is just going to stay put. I think that the trade bait is Genty. I think that's the trade bait is Genty, Mason Graham, or, I really don't think Abdul Carter is going to fall past 3. There's a lot of rumors right now that Abdul Carter will get taken by the Giants, so I can't see any of the big dogs like Abdul Carter dropping below 6. Right? Yeah. I can't see Mason Graham really dropping below 6. I would hate it if the Raiders passed up on him, but whatever. And I just a lot of these talents, like even Armand Membu, right? We talk about Armand Membu. We all like Armand Membu. There's some projections out there that if the Raiders pass up on Armand Membu, the Jets will get him. Thom, what do you think about that? Yes. You think the Jets need an O-line as good as Armand Membu?
I think so, unless when the Jets pick, if Membo's on the board, but if Mason Graham is also on the board, Mason Graham is the pick because they definitely need that big defensive tackle help. So if both of those players are there, the Jets, in my opinion, will definitely go with Mason Graham.
Jeff?
I'm still on the board with Mason Graham too. He's just too good to pass up. I'm not a big fan of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Membu and everything, but it's we can get a guard and tackle later in the draft. That's going to be fine because you don't really need that left tackle right now. As long as we can work something out with Colton Miller. He ain't going anywhere this year unless we get rid of him. So he's here no matter what. He wants to sit out. It's going to cost him a fortune because number 1, he ain't going to get paid. Number 2, he's going to get fined. So he's going to be paying through the nose, if he sits. So if he wants to do that, that's fine. But that's not the way he is. I've seen guys in other shows talk about this. When was the last time you heard Colton Miller come out and say anything? When have you heard him complain about anything?
If he's not on the field, it's because of injury. It's not because of
correct. But I mean, like be outspoken and talk ill and just do stupid stuff on Twitter and open his mouth. You don't hear it. How about his podcast? Do you watch the podcast?
I've seen,
one.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he's a very quiet, respectful guy that's been here since, you know, he was drafted, and he's given it his all for us. I don't see there's any reason why we shouldn't take care of the guy. Unless
Max Crosby calls him captain. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's the quiet leader on the team. You know, there's always one guy that's in that position that doesn't need to be vocal, and he can just look a certain way and people be like, oh shit, you know. So that's just what he is. That's his style. You know, I love the guy. I think the guy's great. Do I think he's a superstar and a Hall of Famer? No, but he's one of the best left tackles we've had in a while. You know, when was the last really, really good left tackle we've had in the last 15 years?
Well, and actually, that was the answer to the question that I think that Angelo put out. Said, when was the last time that the Raiders went and got somebody for their offensive line, not named? And thank God he said not named Leatherwood, because I was going to say,
Or Colton Miller.
They fucked that pickup. It was Colton Miller. It was Colton Miller. That was the last time. And again, I like what Colton Miller has done. But I'm going to say something that you guys are probably going to say that's blasphemy. That's blasphemous. But it was in here, start getting the shoulder injuries. Once you start getting the shoulder injuries, that is something that is hard to come. You never get back to where you were, but even if you get back to a semblance of where you were, that's a big step. And I don't know if Colton Miller will make it back to that. So this thing, well, we might hook him up. Maybe not. And maybe he is on the trading block. And that's why I said, here's the blasphemous part. Mumford plays well at left tackle when he was there, when he was playing for Colton Miller. He plays better on the left side than he does on the right side. And he's still on the roster. Am I saying that Mumford's going to be there in this thing where, well, maybe if Membo's there, maybe that there's a bunch of jockeying going around. But if somebody wants to overpay, and I've seen the clickbait where the Patriots go and they give up a draft pick for Colton Miller. I'm not saying that they're going to give up their 4, but they're going to give up somebody. I heard a click. I know who that click is. Yes.
You're gonna let him in, Cap.
We will put him in here, and again, some people. Welcome. Hey, I'm gonna do the best John McClane I can do. Welcome to the party, pal. There you go.
You guys, what's up?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Hey,
Raider Nation, Jason in the house. Thank you for joining us tonight. I know you've talked about the draft thing, but go ahead, Cap. Finish up your point about Colton Miller and everything else, and then we'll let Raider.
Yeah. If Colton Miller, if he gets an extension, or if they give him a good deal, maybe, but don't always count on it. I don't think he's going to hold out. I think, like you said, he is that type of guy. He's a quiet professional. But with the injuries that he's had, and he hasn't gotten back to that point, okay, that having somebody come in at left tackle is not out of the question. Maybe Mumford goes, or if they think DJ plays better on the left side, maybe he goes, and they throw Mumford back at right. And I was going to say, Mumford wasn't the greatest at right tackle, but maybe he's finally got it. I don't know, but I know he plays a decent left tackle. So if you get rid of let's say you get rid of Colton Miller in this scenario, you do have somebody on the roster. You can pick up, somebody in the draft, and you're going to revamp that offensive line. Yeah, we need some guards, but we got Booker in the second round available if you want to go that way. Out of Alabama. And when was the last time that you saw that maybe there was only one Alabama guy taken in the first round? It's something that might happen again. So
Jack, are you telling me
Please.
that you're not placing your Raider trust in the long-term future of second-year tackle Gottlieb Ayedzi?
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
And I hope you get over that cold very soon, Tom, because it sounds like a bad one. Yeah, I could barely understand you when you went into your Yiddish.
He was
Actually,
actually DJ Glaze's teammate at Maryland.
Yeah,
Gottlieb
no, and to be
Ayedzi.
yeah, and to be fair, by the way, Tom, not that we're talking badly about Gottlieb Ayedzi. Last year when we were doing the draft show, I talked about that person too, because I watched so much of DJ Glaze, it was kind of hard not to see him. Right? And he's not a bad, it's good that we have him on the team. I'll say that for now, right? He's gonna get to play in preseason. We'll see how well he develops and blah 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 and yada yada. But I think part of the reason why we got him is there's probably a chemistry between him and DJ Glaze that's helping the development of
he's a big
DJ
guy.
Glaze.
He's 6'4", 309. I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah. So he's not terrible. He might even make the final 53.
No.
We don't know where it's all going.
I just want to make one more comment about Colton Miller, to be honest with you too, because I've seen other people say like he's 29 or he's this age. People need to realize that offensive linemen sometimes some of the oldest players in the NFL that aren't kickers. Okay, yes, quarterbacks can stick around that, but that's an anomaly. Tom Brady lasted as long as he did, so did Aaron Rodgers. Offensive linemen sometimes, if they're good enough, they're not going to retire until their late 30s. I mean, Whitworth retired 2 years ago. He was 40 or turning 40. You look at some of these past. Look at Jackie Slater. He played until what? He was 42. So offensive linemen are a little bit different breed. Yeah, they're taking a hit every single play, but it's short-term hits. They're not out there putting their body on the line like a running back or a wide receiver where he gets crushed coming across the middle or a tight end. You're talking about big-bodied guys that are just going up against another big-body guy. It's like trying to tackle a couch is the best way to explain it. They're hitting a little hard. Yeah, there's hands and they're smacking around and shit. But you're not taking that heavy physical abuse like a skill position player or like a linebacker. Even defensive
linemen. Like Trixie on the corner.
Yeah, look at Calais Campbell. How old is he? He's 38, 39?
Yeah.
He was what's his name for us? Jenkins, how old is he? He's 37, 38. Look how long he's lasted in the NFL. So don't look at the age of an offensive lineman and think, oh, he's getting up there in years. He's just getting to his prime once he hits 30, 31. He's only going to get better because he's so experienced and so knowledgeable. You can't let guys go like that. Left tackles don't grow on trees, man. Left tackles are a hot commodity in the NFL. Yeah. If you don't have a good one, you're screwed.
I agree, Jeff. I agree with that, but the only what do you call it? The fly in the ointment in that is he playing up to par? And Colton Miller, and again, I like Colton Miller, and the fact that he's played with Chip Kelly before will be something that maybe will inspire him to maybe that extra oomph that he needs. But he has not played to his capabilities, even like well, here's his level before he had the shoulder injury, and let's take it down a notch. He hasn't taken it down a notch. He's played two notches below. And maybe it was because he needs that extra year to heal, and that would be this year to see what he can do. And this is the make it or take it type of year. If he does come back and plays where he should be, and if the Raiders are smart and he goes to camp, and if they're not full of shit and they see what he really has, okay, if they see that he ain't that in the biscuit, then that's when you start offering him up, or you listen to people that really want him, knowing what you know. And again, if you guys think that I want to just fucking shit can Colton Miller, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm not.
But
I know
that's
you're not.
why the
But
offensive,
that narrative's
the coaches,
out there from other
he's
people.
yeah. Well, fuck them. Okay, I just say that
agree.
as well. I've been tonight, with my swearing, but I mean, if he's up for it, great. I'm all for Colton Miller, but I'm just saying, as Sharif and I were trying to say, Chaim, to life with Colton Miller and the Raiders.
There's some things that people don't realize with offensive linemen, especially a left tackle. So now it was his left shoulder that he had the injury with, right? So he looked like he was suffering early on. You got to remember, in pass protection, your first motion once you start coming off your stance is you're popping that left arm out, because if you don't get your left arm out fast enough to help, say you got a defensive end like a Max Crosby on the outside of you that's going to try and crash around your left side. If you can't get that arm out there to give him that shoulder smack, just to send him off base a little bit, that's an issue. And that's what his issue was early in the season. You could see how long it took him sometimes to get his left arm up. Now, if he's having problems this year, another option for him is to move him to right guard and put Glaze at left. Flip-flop him. Because now his strong side is going to be his right shoulder, and he's got protection and help on the inside on the left side with the guard. So you never want to move him to guard. He's too valuable to not be a tackle. Let's put it that way. And you can't just move a guard to a tackle. That's a different in itself. You can move a tackle to a guard, but to move a guard to a tackle, that's a completely different position. Unless they've played it in the past. But if they've never played tackle before, that's how valuable tackle is. I've played left tackle and I've played center. I played guard for half a season once, but it's always been left tackle or center. And those are your two main positions, is center and left tackle. Unless you got a left-handed quarterback. If you got a left-handed quarterback, now your right tackle's your main guy. But most of your quarterbacks are right-handed anyway. So, don't give up on the guy. I'm not saying you guys are here. Just in general to the chat, should we grab a player in this draft to groom behind him? Oh, most definitely. Because we don't know what's going to happen after this season. I'm fine with drafting one to groom behind him that you could put at guard for a short time, but let him learn from Colton Miller. Put him next to him at left guard. So he sees what needs to be done and get him ready for that to eventually take over at that point. That would be the only way I would start him at guard and then move him to tackle.
No, and Jeff, and I think that's why it's also a reality that if the name we hear at number 6 is Will Campbell,
what he just said right there too, you don't trade a starting left tackle. That's exactly it.
Yeah, no, that's right, Matt. That's right. So again, like what we're saying, Jeff, if Will Campbell gets called, that's why I'm not upset at that, because I believe Will Campbell is a starting day one left guard, which
guard, yes, tackle now. I don't trust him at tackle.
But that's what I'm saying is when you were talking about, all right, then maybe there's somebody that can be produced, because there are a lot of people that believe that Will Campbell, because of his intelligence and what he's already shown at LSU, will eventually become a left tackle. But we need a guard right now, So, hey, Raider Nation, Jason, I want to go to you because I
need to put him on an arm stretcher, though. Stretch his arms out.
Man. No, I know. His feet is really fast, man, and you need good feet to be able to block. So I'm just saying. So Jason, we started the show and we're trying to explain to everyone that there's not any of us here that hate Ashton Jeanty, but we were just giving the parameters again that it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if we traded it because somebody wanted Ashton Jeanty so bad. So we want to hear your take on Ashton Jeanty itself being the pick right now that almost every mock draft board is saying Raiders are picking Ashton Jeanty. Are you buying the hype that the Raiders are picking Ashton Jeanty, or do you think it's smoke and mirrors?
I mean, I hope we trade back. In the grand scheme of things, we need more than just like one player. My bad, let me silence this real quick. So I think if someone wants Jeanty that bad to trade up, then I'm cool with benefiting off like a future pick, the second, third, whatever we get, because it's like we need to fill these holes. You know what I mean? And it's like one pick in the first round is not going to change the whole team. You know what I mean? We need to get more picks and fill these spots. Let our guys draft these guys and get them in there. Like with the line, it's kind of weird. With Miller, you know, he has been our strongest pretty much lineman for years. But it depends. If they're going to give him an extension, then that's cool. But if they're not, then the best thing, I think, for what we're trying to do, I think he's the best trade bait, I guess, that we would have. You know what I mean? Besides like a Max or, you know, that. But he's like the biggest piece we can kind of dangle and say, hey, you know, throw us something. And then so we can get back in some of these rounds and kind of do something. But, I feel like they don't have a plan yet. Well, I mean, I'm sure they have a plan, but I don't, you know, I'm not going to just kind of get rid of him and then there's nothing set in place to, you know what I'm saying, replace him. So, you know, but unless they have plans with getting somebody in them early rounds, you know, getting a tackle, that's what it's kind of looking like. Because, I mean, either way, we got to get this running game going. So either way, we're going to have to get a tackle. We're going to have to get, you know, and then there's running backs later, you know, I mean, later on the line. So, I mean, but if there's no holes to run through, you know what I mean, it means nothing. So we got to fix this line.
I'm not laughing at you, Jason. I'm laughing at Randy N's comment. He's a Broncos fan, but he comes on my channel all the time when Chris Freitas and I are on. He's a funny shit. But that was I saw that. I started cracking up.
Just for you, Randy. Just for you, baby.
Yeah, I'm only going to jump in real quick on the tackle.
Give out a Nacho Libre.
I'm only going to jump in real quick on the tackle narrative, and this is a guy who I really hoped would come out of the shadows last year, but he battled injury all year, and that's Dalton Wagner. Dalton Wagner's a big guy, and he has battled injury off and on. If he could shake that injury bug, that could easily fill one of your tackle holes, and he's got already a year worth plus of experience under his belt. But again, you got to bring somebody young in to help build the line. But I just keep my fingers crossed because when they got Dalton Wagner last year, I thought if he can stay healthy, that's going to be a long-term solution for you.
And I agree with you, Tom. And I've been waiting for Dalton Wagner to show up. And again, and just like Matt was talking about with Mumford, at least Mumford has seen the field and played some games, but Wagner's a fucking house. And it's too bad. He's like 6'8", 6'9".
He's 6'8". Yeah.
What his problem is? Yeah, what his problem is his footwork. From what I understand, yeah, he's been injured, but his footwork needs to improve. And if it does improve, then yeah. And I was even saying it last year. Hey man, Dalton Wagner, that's our right tackle. This Glaze guy we picked up in the draft, he's going to learn behind. You know, I've been wrong. Okay, and I've never been wrong, but I have been mistaken before, and I was mistaken with that. You know, Glaze did fine at right tackle, and as I said, Mumford plays well on the left side. Maybe that's why I'm not stressing the Colton Miller thing as much as people say, because I think maybe it might be that is the time for Mumford to pop in.
Wagner and Colton Miller are the same size.
Yeah, but if Dalton Wagner could be that guy, just like Mekhi Becton was, who came in and helped the Eagles win that Super Bowl, great. Then we have other guys that can throw into the mix. Like I said, we can use Mumford, which he has played guard, and there's that one thing for we need a guard. Well, Mumford slides to guard then, and Meredith, who has always been he's good practice squad material, but Meredith played well last year when given the opportunity. He wasn't an all-pro, but he didn't fucking suck all the time either. So he might be that answer, just given the opportunity for it. So we'll see. But, we're good with JPJ. Glaze is going to be on the team. Miller is our left tackle until further notice. And we just got to figure out who's going to fill those other spots. Is it going to be Mumford? Is it going to be Tom's Gesundheit boy that played at Maryland with Glaze? I forgot his name. Or is it going to be Wagner or somebody else or Meredith? Like I said, we have the bodies. We just need to have the coaching make them what we need. And like Matt Marinovich said, our problem at offensive line was James, but we fixed that. Okay, he's gone. And I don't know who the brain trust was that gave him an extension and a pay raise. And, hey, Chargers, good luck with that because they signed him. And I can't wait. I can't wait to play the San Los Angeles Garglers and have James play and let the defensive line just fucking tee off on it. It's going to be about as bad as when Khalil Mack was teeing off on our guys. The one game he had like 5 fucking sacks. It's going to be flipped for our good team on that one.
6. But who's counting? 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. 6. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Jason.
Abiba Liza, come over to YouTube. Go to YouTube because I don't get requests in the live video here. Come over to YouTube. Go ahead, guys. I'm sorry. I'm having 2 conversations.
Nah,
Matt Marinovich said it.
I'm kind of, like I've been thinking, like, because with the whole Genty thing, like, say if we do, good Genty, I would like for us to go Milroe. Like, just for the simple fact we have a quarterback in place right now. So with his speed, I definitely would love to. The thing is, like, I'm not saying that he has it, but I mean, that speed is something that, you can't coach that. That's something that we haven't had for a long, never. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something we've never had. So I would kick tires. We have Geno for now. So, if it ends up not working out, then cool. But, at least we had our version of a Lamar Jackson or, like a mobile quarterback. I'm not saying he's the most accurate, but with that time to develop, let's see what he can do. And then it would increase our running. That would increase the running game too. So
now he opened the door on this. So again, chat and everybody, don't hate me. All right, Jason did open the door on it. There is talks from all of the different. If you're listening to all the experts and whatnot, that Jalen Milroe is climbing a lot on a lot of the different. There's a lot of different GMs are playing coy about how much they want Jalen Milroe. But the truth of the matter is, just like Jason said, his running ability is something that just is pretty God-gifted, right? Jalen Milroe sure can run. And I remember a certain team that decided to move right back up to the first round to grab Lamar Jackson, and they're not hating life right now, right? So with that said, how you guys feeling if the Raiders make a play for Jalen Milroe? Because all these other, when we talked about this before, and this is why I was throwing it out, right? Like if Tampa Bay, for example, goes, hey, we really want so-and-so or whatnot, Raiders do trade down. They get that extra pick, but they're sitting there and they're like, well, Jackson Dart's off the board. Shador's off the board. Cam Ward's off the board. Why not what if the Raiders make a play for Jalen Milroe and it happened to be in the first round? Tom, are you hating it? Are you going to be on the Captain Jack show getting mad?
I got to hang on real quick. I got to refill my coffee and I'll be right back. But I'm just going to give my simple answer. Anthony Richardson, Jalen Milroe. That's all I'm going to say. I'll be back.
Yeah. I agree. When I said that Shador was going to be there at 21 for Pittsburgh, I really meant that. I think he's going to drop, and I think that Cam and Shador are the only 2 quarterbacks that are going to get selected in round 1. And I'm going to make this prediction as well. I've already predicted that Shedeur was going to drop to 21. I think that there is a team out there that once round one is over, they're going to do the same thing that the Titans did and draft up to the very top spot of the second round. And I'm making the prediction now. I don't know what the team is, but that Jalen Milroe will be the first pick in the second round on day 2.
That's a good take. Because again, Cap, whether you like him, not like him, he can't throw that well, blah, blah, blah. All the raw skills are there. And if you just wanted to use him as a decoy for running, that kid really can run. He can run lights out. He might be the second best runner next to Ashton Gentle in this draft.
You could put a package together for him right now.
Chip Kelly.
I said that
he would be the perfect Chip Kelly if he does it right. If he can mold into the guy we need him to.
Yeah, but the thing is that the Raiders have done that before. And I can't remember which draft it is, but somebody's going to tell me that they moved to the first pick in the second round to get Michael Bush out of Louisville because they saw he was still there. And it was like, wow, this is the guy we need. And they moved up right up to the top pick of the second round, first one off the board. And Michael Bush was a very good running back for us, and unfortunately should have probably seen more action. And what was a forgotten running back. But man, I tell you, you talk about somebody like Genty, big, strong, and fast all together. Okay, so they can, and if Milroe is going to be that guy, and he's still on the board, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It wouldn't surprise me at all if somebody does the let's get him, because he's not in the first round. He said, okay, well, there's going to be a run. Okay, if Jackson Dart's already been taken, and I really think that maybe when Jackson Dart, and I can't remember if Angelo said this or if Thom said that, there's going to be a run. As soon as Jackson Dart is taken, somebody's going to go, uh-oh, we need to go get Milroe. And it's going to be within a pick or two, but maybe they hold off on that, and then they said, okay, we'll figure out who's got the first pick in the second round, and we'll do it there. The only bad thing about that is that as a second rounder, you don't have that fifth-year option. But if you have him there, and that's the guy you want, and that's the guy you want to have tutelage for, no problem at all. And everybody's saying it's going to be Will Howard in the fourth round because he knows the system. That might be smoke screen as well. Maybe it really is Jalen Milroe that we want to experiment with as our second round guy. And maybe, and this is why I was saying with those trade backs, the trade backs on that second round, you remember, we're going to need a running back. If we do the trade, we're still going to need the running back. That's what it is. That's what it is. Habib, this is pretty much a couple of the pundits here are talking draft, so it's not like the normal show, where we pop people in, but we are getting everybody that's saying things in the comments. It's these guys plus Jeff who had to drain the big weasel and put some more coffee and a cigarette, I'm sure. So he'll be back in a bit. But I appreciate you being there, Habib. And I saw you. The link is pretty much out for tonight. Maybe on Thursday when that guy. Oh, did I? No, I fucked it up. When that guy. Yeah. When
for
that
Thursday,
guy opens up.
Yeah. For Thursday for the draft, I'm going to have Jason on as a guest. I'm going to have Thom with me on Thursday. I'll have Jeff on because we're all going to be like, I'm going to start it at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So we would have already known what our pick is. And then and then we'll get to kind of play the rest of the night with everyone else during Thursday night. But yeah, no, like what you were saying, Jason, because again, guys, I want to make it clear because before the chat starts attacking me on it, If it was me, if I
I'll
was
be-
John Spytek, my pick would be O-line, running back, O-line. That's me. All right. So I'm not saying I'm taking Jalen Milroe before anyone attacks me. I'm just saying Jason opened the door to a very truthful fact that there is no better runner other than maybe Genty in this entire draft. And in terms of pure athleticism, Jalen Milroe might be so good that, just like Thom said, he'll definitely be the first one off the board in the second round, but he might be in the first round. I'm just saying.
Well, Angelo, here's the thing, and I blame John Gruden for this. And again, Jack and I have talked about this ad nauseum. I was not a fan of Gruden 2.0 coming back in, and the one thing that Gruden did that handicapped this franchise is he did not do what we've talked about here, and that's drafting the quarterback every year. He did not do that. Gruden refused to bring a quarterback in except for Nate Peterman. Decided he was going to try to make him the next world beater, but that sucked the life out of the franchise for years. And they could have brought in an apprentice for Derek Carr year after year, refused to do it, and really put us in a position where now Raider fans are desperate for that that flash, because we just haven't had it. So now when quarterbacks come out of the woodwork and they talk about, this young quarterback has this potential. We had a shot at Jalen Hurts. Didn't get him. We had a shot at Lamar Jackson. Didn't get him. And again, we just bypassed player after player. So now it's the point where the Raiders fan base is just willing to grasp onto anything that's there, that's young and shiny and ready to go, because we just haven't had that.
Yeah, I agree with the whole quarterback thing while Carr was here. There was never any competition put into Carr. So basically, Carr knew that he just had to keep doing what he was doing. And with no competition, he never felt like he had to excel to beat out so-and-so. There was never that legit competition for him. And that's why I say every year, regardless, you draft a quarterback, whether you need one or not, even if you're 3 deep already, you draft, because you don't know what you're going to get. Look at Brock Purdy. Drafted to pick the last pick in the draft, and look what he's turned into. Tom Brady picked in the 7th round. Look what he turned into. Or 6th round. Look what he turned into. It's not always these first-round quarterbacks that get taken that turn into superstars. A lot of these first-round quarterbacks don't make it. We know from past experience that they don't make it.
Who are the 3 best quarterbacks in the 2012 draft? It wasn't the top 2 picks. It was a 3rd rounder, Russell Wilson. It was a 4th rounder, Kirk Cousins, and it was another 4th rounder, Dak Prescott. Those were the 3 best quarterbacks in the draft, and none of them higher than the 3rd round.
No, again, Tom Brady, 6th round, 7 Super Bowls. Hello, I can't stand the guy because I live in New England. And I had to endure those 20 years of bullshit with the Patriots up here. So I've come to deal with him being part of the ownership now. And I've said this before. It still doesn't mean if he walks into this room right now, I wouldn't punch him in the face just once, because it's just what he put us through as Raider fans for all those years. I can't stand him still. But he's growing on me a little bit. As long as he gets this team going in the right direction or part of it, I'm okay with it.
I love you, Chris. You can come in, brother. Yeah.
I just want to throw this out because it's your boy, Jeff. But Chris, man, you need to have your communications better, because Jeff and me are going to be together on Thursday anyways, which means you're going to be a part of it. Oh, I thought you and I were going to be together on Thursday, Jeff.
On Captain's show?
Oh, no, together. Like, you're going to link your channel with Captain's channel.
We can figure it out somehow.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely, because I've already got Oz set. I've already got it set up for Oz. Because Thursday night's my other show that I do, the Raiders Coast to Coast. We're turning it into a draft watch party that night.
Right, so, right. That's all I was doing. That's why I thought you were just going to link it up with Captain's. It's just that because of Roku, I have to start it at 6.
Yeah, I don't know how we can we can talk off screen later, but we try and hook something up for sure.
Guys, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to dash, and I'll relinquish my position here. But I look forward to getting together with you all at a later time. I do want to put out there real quick, if you want to catch up on some what I think is some good Raider content, go on to any podcast service, and just search Raider Roots. So Raider Roots podcast is a podcast I put together a couple of years ago. It chronicles the Raiders' history year by year. It talks about all the results, all the drafts, all the players, coaches. Each segment is about 20 minutes in length. But again, it details each year. And I've just gotten through the 2022 season. So there's about 75 episodes. So if you want to binge listen onto something and catch up on all Raiders history, there you go. You can find me on the X at Raider T-Bone. And you can also find me on the YouTube at T3 Sports Guy.
T3 Sports Guy, right? Thom?
T3 Sports Guy. Yeah.
T3 Sports Guy. And then Thom, we'll see you on Thursday, right?
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
All right.
Can't make promises, but I'll do my best. You guys take care. Thanks for having me in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Nice meeting you, man. Take care.
Yes, sir.
And there you go, guys.
Thanks for the $2 super chat, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thom is pretty awesome. Thom is really very knowledgeable on his stuff
that was
too.
Cool being on with him. I've never been on a show with him before. He's
no, Tom's great. Tom's great. So T3 Sports Guy for any of you guys who want to check out his YouTube channel. But go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry, man. You're the one that's had the least amount of time to talk. Go ahead, go.
Oh man, I can't wait for this draft, man. I just want it to happen. I feel like this is going to be one of the best drafts that we've ever had. You know, to be honest, like I really feel good about it. That's why I can't wait for it to happen. You know, I feel like we have people in place that know what they're doing, and we don't have to play GM anymore. Like, we don't have to play coach anymore. I think they know what they're doing. So I'm excited. I just want at least one of those Ohio State running backs. If it's Judkins or Henderson, that's all I ask. Just one. If we get both, that's cool. I would love that. But, yeah, we got to fix this line. I definitely, it's not the sexiest pick, I know, but I understand the mission. Like, this is something we've needed to do for a long time. So if this is what it takes to get this line straight, and then we don't have to keep doing this year after year, talking about we need a tackle, we need to, we fix this. If we do this draft right this year, we'll be good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that sentiment too. Since you brought that Judkins thing up. So I was saying earlier, Jeff, that again, so that no one in the chat keeps pointing at me like I'm not the guy to keep saying we need to build O-line. And then you convinced me about the running back thing. So I give you that credit. That originally I thought, hey man, if a talent like that comes our way, shouldn't we get it? But now looking at it, and we've had that fun 3-hour draft together, you're absolutely right. So I want to throw out there that, in my opinion, for us, if we get the O-line squared up early, I would make a run at Omarion Hampton, man. I kind of like that guy. He's pretty good. He would be a nice second, but just like Jason was saying about Judkins or Henderson or whatnot. So there's this thing that, as you guys know, I'm really into the guards and us needing it. I know that Zabel is going to be available past 15, right? Is Zabel someone worth trading up for, or are we just going to sit here and say to ourselves, hopefully a Booker ends up in the second for our pick? Because the only other guy I was looking at is the kid from Arizona, who I think we can get late second if we traded up for him, Jonah Savanea. Have you looked at any of this at all, Jason? The Gray Zabel, Booker, or Savanea? And how about you, Jeff? Have you looked into those three, and what are your thoughts on those three?
Jonah. Okay, I see him.
Yeah,
Jonah Savanea.
The only two that the only three I've really looked at were Jackson from Ohio State, Zabel, and Booker.
Right. My problem with Jonah Jackson was that he's injured, right? I mean, I know he's supposed to be ready, but I don't think he could be a day one for us.
Well, because of that injury issue, he may fall. So that could also be a blessing in disguise for us too, if we wanted to.
Right. I needed a day one guard. That's why I was saying Zabel, Tyler Booker, or Savanea. I just don't know, because I keep hearing that Booker might even get picked up in the first round. I don't know.
There's a good chance, yeah. Well, I mean, he comes from that Alabama bloodline with, so I mean, it is that. I haven't seen much about this kid Jonas. So he's 6'4", 325. He's a big boy.
He's good, man. He's good. Arizona, played with McMillan, played with their quarterback, but he's definitely in the big board. Like, he's in the top 50 best players.
He's got a sub 540, so I mean, he's got some speed. But again, I don't give a shit about the speed on an offensive lineman. I don't care how fast they run the 40. He's got some quickness in him, obviously. I'm more, when it comes to speed, I want to see that in your receivers, running backs, defensive backs,
quarterbacks.
I don't care how fast an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle can run a 40, and edge rushes. Oh yeah, that's a big deal. But yeah, I mean, if I read up on a little bit more,
yeah, no. How about you, Jason?
I like, the same crew. Is Ratledge, is he a guard or is he a tackle? I thought he was
a guard.
Yeah, I was gonna say
from
him,
Georgia.
him and Zabel.
Yeah,
we gotta have one of those. And I don't know. There's so much, like how we were talking about with Wagner.
He's tall. He's 6'6", big dude.
Yeah. That's why even with Wagner, like, even if we don't try him at tackle, you know what I mean? Like, test him out at guard. You know what I mean? See what he could do there. Because, I mean, that's a big dude just to waste,
Well, there's a couple
like
of
said,
I was looking at that you could get later in the draft, even like towards the end, may possibly even be undrafted free agent. I know another big name that keeps getting kicked around is Willie Lampkin. I've only been turned on to him by from 805 Real Talk Raiders there. Him talking about Willie Lampkin, and the other one I know because he's a hometown kid. He's from my state. He's from Rhode Island. Is the kid from Georgia, Xavier Truss. He's from Georgia.
Okay.
He's good friends with Brock Bowers. Like him, the two of them were like best friends. They were roommates when they were together at Georgia. His mother, Truss's mother, is friends with one of the guys in the club, and his mother and Brock Bowers' mother are like super, super tight. So I mean, he may have an edge there too. That may be like that connection where Brock talks this kid up, and the kid's good. He's a big kid. I mean, he was the highest rated high school football player to come out of Rhode Island ever. So that's how good this kid is. And he's an offensive guard. Take a late flyer on him. If he's still at the end of the draft, grab him. Sevier even knows about it because I mentioned that one day, and Sevier goes, he's good too. I said, I know he is. He made a name for himself here in Rhode Island. Granted, it's a tiny ass state, but still. We're not known as a football powerhouse. When you get a kid that comes out of Rhode Island playing football, and is possibly going to get drafted, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Getting back to the point when Jason was talking about Wagner, the fact is that, like I said, if it's problematic, like I said, if his footwork is problematic and that's what's causing him the issues as a tackle, it's not necessarily a super hindrance as a guard because you got protection on either side. Okay. And as long as you are adequate in your footwork and not going to be beat up by the defensive tackle in front of you. And I think that would probably be a possibility for Wagner. I mean, you have a kid that's 6'8" playing guard, as long as he's not too big. But remember, Don Mospar was 6'7" at center. I might be mistaken on size, but Mospar was huge as a center. So, it's not saying you can't have somebody that big on the inside.
Yeah, my pushback on that, Cap, is Mosbar was really good with his feet, and Wagner is not that great with his feet.
It's not. And that's why that's what's hindering Dalton Wagner is his footwork. And if he can't get it done, then I think this is like the third year, you know,
of the development. Contract.
Okay, you either put up or shut up. And again, I'm not saying that in a nasty way. I don't know him personally, but same thing with Tyree Wilson. This is his fucking put up or shut up year. If he's even on this team this year. And Tyree Wilson might be one of those people that gets traded during the draft because he's got upside and maybe he needs a change of scenery. And there's a segue for you there, Angelo. Run with it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed that out because I was going to talk about trades next, guys. Was there so far, again, if you're listening to what everybody is saying, Tyree Wilson is on that trade block that they're willing to let go. And O'Connell is on that trade block and they're willing to let him go. So for someone like Tyree, me personally, and you know this, Jason, because we've been together on a show talking about this, I'm a believer in Tyree Wilson. I still believe that he can do something. You can't teach that size. He was good in Texas. That injury was legit. So I say, giving him one more shot, unless, and this is my unless we could somehow get an early second round pick for him. If somebody wants to give me like the first pick of the second round or something like that, that would be great. But
anybody want this guy as a potential bust for a second round pick? Go for it.
I'm just saying, man. But he's also a potential really good riser. I never really considered his year one as a year one. Last year was what I thought would be his rookie year because he was playing more uninjured, and you saw how well he did develop. So this is, even though it's year 3, I feel like, with the fact that we could franchise him if he does end up becoming the superstar that he could become, right? I still believe he's worth keeping unless somebody's willing to give us a second pick or a really good trade. Because I don't want to give him up for nothing, Jeff. I don't want to give him up for a third.
If we're going to get a second rounder, then we have to trade the unblocked Tyree Wilson. Then he'll get a second round pick for him. But if we trade the always gets blocked and can't do shit Tyree, then you'll get maybe a 6 or 7 for him.
No, but that's what I mean. I don't want to do that.
I'm done with him. I'm sorry.
I just
overall pick in the first round, and we are year 3, and we're still talking about how he hasn't really produced anything. And people throw stats out there. He did the same as this guy, that guy. I don't care. When you're picked that high, your expectancy is you walk on that field day one and you're a starter. When you're
and that's true. And that's true.
I have more faith in Tyree Wilson than Zamir White. I know that.
Yeah, another one.
Not really saying much, but yeah, I just feel like Angelo was saying with the size, Tyree has a better chance of maybe slowly developing, but he has, I think, the better shot at because as he gets bigger and he starts to learn the finesse moves and stuff like that, he can I think he can eventually get it rather than the running back that we have on our team.
And again, I'm going to admit another time that I was mistaken because again, I've never been wrong. But I was mistaken when I thought that Zeus was going to be a somewhat adequate back to take the place of Josh Jacobs. Again, I didn't say it was going to be fully all of that in a biscuit, but I said, okay, he will adequately replace some of what Josh brought to us based upon what he did in Georgia. And I saw what he did in Georgia. But just like Jacobs did it very early in his career, Jacobs would run up the back of his blockers and not look and not be able to find that seam. Well, Josh eventually figured that out and was a great one cut and go when he was able to see that. Unfortunately for Zeus, he hasn't figured that out yet. And until he does, he's just going to be just another guy. this is his year, and he might not make the squad because remember they got the kid that had the one carry and he fumbled last year, and I can't remember his name, but Dylan Lobby, and I have some high hopes for Dylan Lobby, and I think that he might be a very good gadget piece for this team, especially with Chip Kelly running the offense. I think that might be. But yeah, I know Avikazi. I said I was mistaken. I wasn't wrong, but I was mistaken. But I thought that he would be a somewhat adequate, decent back. But also remember, our offensive line really fucking blew chunks last year. That's why friggin' Booger Minshew wasn't able to do jack shit. That was why our AOC 12 got injured, the hand injury when he was just brought in to be the guy because the guys were on him so quickly that he busted his hand. So it's one of those things, So the offensive, we really do need to improve our offensive line. We really do need to have a fantastic running back. And yes, and going back to pretty much the point that we started this entire show out with is that, Genty is a really, really good running back. But there are so many really good not as good as Genty, but there are really good running backs in this draft that you don't need to spend a number 6 pick on somebody or on a position that you could find a viable candidate to be that guy in round 2 or 3. And you use that pick, you parlay it. Maybe you trade back, as we said, maybe trade back to 9 or trade back to 12, get those picks. And then you start using those picks that you acquire for additional people in this draft for this team. So there you go.
But I'm going to steal something that Afakasi says all the time, and only because he's in the channel, so I want to give him a shout out for this. Even though our offensive line was trash, if we still had Jacobs this year, damn well we would have still put up more than 2.5 yards per average carry. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
That we're dead last in that category, that we can't even get up to 3 yards per carry. At least 3 yards per carry gets you within a yard of a first down, where you could possibly get it. But I mean, 2.5 or 2.3, whatever it was, Jacobs could have done that with his eyes closed. And Zamir just runs straight into his offensive line, and so did Jacobs at the start. But Jacobs learned fast how to find a hole and make the cuts. Zamir just I don't know what the hell the guy's issue was. I mean, I've said this before. I don't think his ankles work. He can't make cuts. I mean, does he not have function of his ankles properly, where he can't pivot on his feet? I don't know. But good God, watching him run was painful. I think the best game I saw him have this past season was, and I only rewatched it a couple of weeks ago, was the Baltimore game. He had some explosive runs up the middle, but that's because we had holes the size of a trailer truck to get through. Without that, forget it, So, offensive line was definitely an issue. There's no two ways about it. Couldn't pass protect for shit. But again, we just didn't have the right running back room. It was disgusting last year. I don't think I've ever seen a running back room as bad as this one.
Yeah, when Madison was our top runner, that was like crazy.
Yeah.
And then I still don't even know if he was, but that just at the time it felt like he was, I guess, the best running back on the roster.
Without a doubt. And I guess the other thing too is we didn't have a 100-yard rush all season long till the last game when Amir Abdullah ran for 100 yards. It took until the end of the season before we had a 100-yard rusher.
Let me guess. Was that one of those worthless? Was that the Jags game? The Jags or the
whatever the last? Well, we lost, so it was the last game of the season. Whatever that one was, I don't remember who we played. This whole season was a complete blur to me. It seemed like we played 30 games this past season because each week it just felt like it got worse and worse.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think this offseason is so exciting in a way, because we've got the 6th pick. We've got this 6th pick with a whole new regime in house now, from part owner all the way down to, you know, new strength coaches in the building, you know, different players, you know, a GM that, as far as I'm concerned, hopefully he knows what the fuck he's doing, you know, which is another thing that Raider fans aren't used to. We're not used to having a legit GM. We spent decades with Al Davis being the GM. And until recently, McKenzie was like the first really kind of GM position we had, because everything went through Al.
No,
Even though he wasn't
I'm gonna,
the greatest at it.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna disagree there. I love what Reggie McKenzie did with trimming the fat off of our contracts, which were horrible. He was a numbers guy that's somewhat new talent, but he still wasn't a GM, and that was one of the reasons why he was cut loose as soon as the announcement came. I can't remember which coach it was when they announced that this coach was coming in. I was there at the Hilton Hotel in Oakland, where in the front area where Reggie was with some of the.
He was part of the cleaning house when Del Rio got let go.
Well, but the thing is that they knew that he was gone, because again, he did a fantastic job on capology. That's where his asset was capology. But his picks, not at all. They were horrible. So and we really still haven't had a good GM. And I know if Sharif is still here, right? And then if you get with Sharif, who bangs the drum that says that the champ Kelly was disrespected and that's why he left the building, you know, and I kind of agree with that to a point. I mean, Spytek is a Brady guy, and he was given the keys, but Sharif doesn't get the fact that Spytek did do his due diligence with the Bucks, just like Champ Kelly did his due diligence. And unfortunately, the Raiders wanted somebody that worked well within their guys, and he wasn't one of their guys. And he was like, "Oh, and my best to Champ Kelly, I think he's with the Dolphins now. He's going to do damn good there." Okay, but you can't say that Spytek, all he did was, you know, pass out sodas and sandwiches in the Buccaneers, you know, war room. He did not do that. And I think that we are going to see what Spytek with Carroll's tutelage can do.
No, I agree. It just, again, it's still a new concept to a lot of Raider fans. You know, having a GM in the building. You know, I mean, you saw what Al Davis's contracts were like in the past. They were ridiculous. But the way he worked the contracts was always in the team's favor, because he did a lot of heavy backloaded contracts. So if they signed somebody to a 5-year contract and they were getting the heavy payouts later on, most of these players didn't make it past the 3rd year. They were gone. 3rd, 4th year possibly. So before those heavy, you know, salaries came in, they were out the door. So a lot of these contracts were not player friendly, you know, so that changed a lot too. You know, once McKenzie took over, it was pure hell, you know. So that, I think, if you look at what we had for draft picks for years, there were years where we didn't have 1st round picks either, because we were always having to freaking trade them away, or it was something stupid that we did. You know, this year feels different. You know, it feels real different. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, the excitement definitely. I mean, we got this. We were talking about so much. They're just, what makes this so exciting is there's so much talent. You know, I've already thought about how, like I said, like we were mentioning certain names, just like Jason said about Judkins and Henderson, and those are names we could get 2nd, possibly as late as the 3rd round, right? I'm still really into. I was going to ask you, Jeff, because you talked about Jonah Jackson, I think, from Ohio State. or Jonah. Is it Jonah Jackson? Yeah. There's another kid there. Yeah. There's another kid there, Donovan, the guard. What do you think of
Donovan
that guy?
Jackson.
That's the guy I'm talking about. Yeah, Donovan Jackson. What do you think about him? Like, we could get him in the second round, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. There's so much talent available, and that's why extra draft picks are gonna help. You know, because you've only got so many picks, but you've got so many holes. That's our problem. You know, we've got so many needs rolling into this draft that the only way we're going to overcome that is by moving back and getting more picks to help fill those voids. Because again, there's so much talent. This is one of the deepest drafts I've seen as far as talent outside of the quarterback position. Quarterback's probably, without a doubt, the weakest position in this draft. You know, if it's after Cam Ward, it drops off. I'm sorry. Even I don't even put Shador as number 2, to be honest with you. I think it's a crapshoot.
No. Yeah, I tell you, like I said, and this is the year that this is not the year to draft a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, unless you have the first pick and it's Cam Ward. Okay, I think Jackson Dart's going to be probably the best of the picks that come out early. The ones that actually produce, you know, other than Cam Ward, it's going to be Cam Ward. I think Jackson Dart's going to produce when given the opportunity. Milroe might be that guy. We'll have to see where he ends up and where he goes. But Sanders, okay, and it's not because I can't stand his father, you know, because, you know, everybody has a take on that. The great cornerback and non-tackling fucking great guy that he is, okay. And yes, he is a Hall of Fame guy because of his coverage skills. But, you know, it's not because of his dad, who's got the ego the size of the Grand Canyon. That's fine. That goes without saying. But I actually think that his son, Shiloh, will be a better prospect for whichever team gets him than Shador will. But if Shador gets himself to the right team, there you go. But it's not going to be with this team. And if the Raiders think that maybe he's that guy in round 2, if they don't do the Jalen Milroe at the top of round 2 thing, and if Brady convinces them, go get Shador with the first pick, that might be the play. You know, if Thom barks up the tree and says, I'm going to take my football and go home unless you draft Shador Sanders with the first pick in the second round, or if they trade with the Eagles to get that, with you know, that pick at 32, just like the Ravens did when they got Jackson, because then you got that 5th-year option. You know, if that's the pick, fine. But I don't know of anybody that should be picking Shador Sanders in the first round. Now, granted, if you put him back at the pick 32, that's basically a round 2 pick that you had to go up to just to get that extra 5th-year option. That's why that one is important. But I'm sorry, Jackson Dart's going to be the second quarterback taken, and Milroe might be quickly off the board, whether it's immediately after Jackson Dart or not. Milroe might be that third quarterback taken. But I think those are the guys. But, you know, don't sleep on the kid from Louisville. Don't sleep on the kid from North Dakota State. Don't sleep on Will Howard being in the right situation. It's a matter, you know, who the fuck knew that Tom Brady was going to be who he is? Because he was behind Brian fucking Greasy at Michigan. He was the backup. People forget that. Pick 199. My buddy Doc Cabral that's why he always throws 199 in our face, you know, 199. Well, good for him. Okay. But there's going to be a many quarterbacks in this draft. Nobody's mentioned Dylan Gabriel yet. Although I think
that Jason Downs isn't in the chat. Although he'd be calling out.
Yeah, okay.
He'd be calling him out.
I was going to say, I think that, you know, he'll be Dylan Gabriel's like a small man's Marcus Mariota, and they both have the Oregon thing going for them. But I saw Dylan Gabriel when he played for UCF. He's a very talented quarterback, but I think his size and his arm capacity are going to be what keeps him from being as productive as he can be. But there's a lot of guys available, guys. There's a lot of guys available. Wood,
And-
good to
and
see
Cap-
Hollywood's in house.
Cap, there's going to be, just like Jeff said in the first hour of our show, there's going to be undrafted ones too. Like I think about UNLV, and someone in the chat mentioned Ricky White. I think Ricky White is going to get picked as a wide receiver, and by the very least by the 5th round. But the quarterback that we had this year, Malik Williams, if that guy goes undrafted, I'd love for the Raiders to take a crack at him, because he looked like Lamar Jackson for us, and to go undrafted, great. Like, why not give it a try? So just like you're saying, there's so much talent on all the other positions. One of the ones that we didn't really get to talk about so much because it's not a need for us, but it's heavy this year, is edge. There are so many great edge talent that a lot of what the draft analysts are saying is there might be like 4 to 5 different edges taken in the first round, which would then push a lot of talents down to us, which is
the big,
which
the
is
big
why
thing is teams put a lot of value in those edge rushes. They're huge now. Years ago it was more defensive tackles and line, your middle linebackers and such. Edge rushes are like at a premium now. Because you see these guys that aren't like Max Crosby. Max is not the biggest of dudes, muscle wise and everything. He
was a 4th round pick too, by the way.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. That was a gem. We got lucky there, to be honest with you. Getting him when we did, but he's not Tyree Wilson. Let's put it that way, muscle wise. Like you look at Tyree with his shirt off, and you stand Max next to him. They're 2 totally different body styles. One is just like cut and in shape, and Max, yeah, he's in shape and everything, but he's not that physical specimen. But he's just a different breed. That's just the way he plays. Some of these guys they don't look the part. I mean, Jesus Christ, look at Hunter Renfrow. Did you ever see the pictures? A few years ago where they took a picture of him and they put a picture up of DK Metcalf next to him, and they said, just believe it or not, these guys both play the same position in the NFL.
Right.
If you didn't know who he was, you'd be like, "There's no way." Well, yeah, yeah, they play the same position in the NFL. One looks like he's ready to get into a wrestling match and crush you. The other one looks like he's missed a bomb. 2 totally different body styles playing the same position. 2 different style players.
Yeah. And
Edge
part
rushers,
of the thing,
man, they don't grow on trees when they're this good.
Now, and part of the thing I was saying too, Jeff, is that with this year's draft with so much talent, like remember how I kept saying it's not that we don't like Ashton Genty. Guys, I love Ashton Genty as a talent, and if we take him, great. I'll be happy to. If we don't take him when we trade back, great. I'll be happy. Basically, I trust what's going to happen, and I'm going to be happy. Other than maybe if they take Shedeur Sanders at 6, that might be the only thing that might make me go, ooh, man, I don't know what happened here. But other than that, I'm going to be pretty much happy with what they do. I'm going to trust the process. Having said that, though, please don't come at us as a Raider unit if Ashton Genty has a hell of a season because he ends up going to a team like Chicago, for example. Because Chicago has something that we don't have. They have a good O-line already. Like
right now they do. They worked it up in free agency. I mean, they kicked ass getting that offensive line set.
Exactly.
They did the right thing.
Exactly. Right. So that's why, like, Genty could go to a team and ball out, and then everybody's going to say to us, just like what happened with Jalen Carter, everybody's going to go, see, you guys messed it up. You should have taken him, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is, Jeff, like I said, everything is situational, man. Genty coming to us, he might not have a great year because we don't have that structure for him. Right? Same thing with same exact thing with Jalen Carter. I always say, like, I get it. Talent-wise, yes. Jeff, are we gonna sit there and have an argument about, yes, I get it, we probably should have taken Jalen Carter instead of Tyree Wilson, blah, blah, blah. But you have to remember that at that time, Jalen Carter had a lot of bad behind him, and the worry was you send him to a town like Vegas where DUIs happen, and Jalen Carter might have ended up not even being the Jalen Carter you see right now. So again,
I mean, I
please
get
do
that.
not-
I
was
mean, I
just saying.
definitely get that part. Well, you know what is the Raiders had suffered through years of not doing their due diligence. Like Damon Arnett is a perfect example. Ruggs, I don't blame that on coaches missing anything. I mean, that was just a bad mistake, that cost someone their life and their dog. And, it's a shame that happened. That wasn't something you would have picked up in looking through his back history more than likely. Arnett, oh, hell yeah. Somebody dropped the ball there. Someone wasn't paying attention. Someone missed something on that kid, because you should have passed him. The kid's now playing in the XFL or the USFL or whatever league. He's still playing now. So I mean, I get why they weren't gonna make that move on Carter. Hindsight being 2020, it's like shit. We should have made that move. But what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna be. If we pick Shador or Genti, I'm not gonna sit here and stomp my feet and bitch and moan and cry. I'm gonna deal with it. Even though it's two players that I don't want. I'm gonna hope for the best. And you got to deal with nothing we can all say is going to change anything. So we're stuck with it anyway.
Yeah,
if that's the move that the Raiders make, that's the move the Raiders make. What are you going to do?
And where I'm at with the Genti move again is that, like, Jason, Genti is good. Like, we're not, none of us think that he's no good. It's just that if we can get more, then we should get more, right? The Shador one is a question for me, just because why did we pay Geno so much money if we were going to get a quarterback in the first round? The only reason why we should go back to the first round to get a quarterback is if we're somehow trading to the number 32 pick with Philadelphia because, I don't know, Milrose available, or I don't know, like they have a project that they're thinking of, so let's go get that quarterback. It's kind of like Jordan Love, right? Remember when Green Bay took Jordan Love and everybody was like, huh? Jordan Love? But Jordan Love ended up working out. Keep in mind, he sat behind Aaron Rodgers
for like 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, so if that's Jackson Dart, man, or whatever, if that's Jalen Milroe to make Jason happy, right? If we trade back to 32 and we get Jalen Milroe, I'm not going to be mad at it. I won't be mad at it. But if we
at least it's not what the 49ers did with Trey Lance.
Now that's that. If they didn't get Brock Purdy, they'd really be screwed, Jeff. Yeah. Like they'd really be screwed, right? And that's what I'm trying to say is I don't think we need to use the number 6 on a quarterback, which is why I'm not going to stomp my feet. But it's going to be a hell of a show, Jeff, wondering why in the world we took a quarterback at number 6 when we don't need one. At this point, I'm just saying we have a starting quarterback. And we have a good backup, too. A backup that could be traded for a pretty good pick. What if we end up getting a 3rd-round pick for Aiden O'Connell? Would you be mad? I'm not going to be mad for a third just because
now your problem is who's your backup?
No, I know. I'm just saying, though, right? I'm just saying, right? But I want to keep him. Remember, I'm an Aiden O'Connell guy. I believe in Aiden O'Connell. All right?
I think Jason, you're all for AOC, right?
Yeah, this whole group right now is an Aiden O'Connell group. We're the baby Kurt Warner group. right?
Yeah,
right
I believe keeping him is a better idea than just getting trading him, because then we're not going to have a backup quarterback. But and that takes the pressure off.
Well, you guys fucking know that shit on my channel, and I'm going to sit here. I went off because I had to get something to eat and that's why my hair's back, so I don't have to eat my hair. AOC 12, that's all I'm going to fucking say. That's fucking rules of the channel. You guys know that. I'll be right back. Arr.
What, he doesn't like AOC 12? What am I missing?
New York.
No, he doesn't want it to be AOC because that's it's a political thing.
Okay.
So that's what it is. But go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
Hey, believe it or not, I had a sign thing that I had done up when we were doing our Raider Connection shows, and I put on it Project AOC AOC 12 Project 2025. Like midway through the season last year. I got flagged for that for a political statement because of Project 2025. They were saying about who. So it's like I got flagged for that. I'm like, it doesn't even it says AOC 12, and then it just that whole AOC. I'm like, God damn it! So I had to edit that part out of the video. I'm like, what the frig?
I think that's why Aiden got that's why Aiden really got the bad rap. It wasn't nothing he did.
Yeah, I call him AOC 12. So.
Well, I like Aiden O'Connell. I mean, if my wife Jeff was asking me, right? She's like, "Well, what happens if Gino gets injured?" I'm like, "That's great. Now I get to see Aiden O'Connell, which is what I wanted in the first place." I
mean, the rest of the fans that don't like him are going to be screaming.
Of
Three
course,
of us up here are going to be smiling, like, "Yeah, buddy, go get him."
Don't let him start winning some games.
Yeah. Shut everybody up.
Yeah. Well, also protect them, right, Jason? We've always said if you protect Aiden O'Connell, he'll get the ball to where it's at. You know how everybody always talks about Shedeur Sanders accurate. Maybe he doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's accurate. He's going to get the ball there, blah, blah, blah. I've always said the same thing about Aiden O'Connell, by the way. He can get the ball there, too, if you protect him. If you don't mess with him, he'll get the ball to where you need it to go. It's just that you can't blame him when he didn't have an offensive coordinator first year, and then you can't blame him for the shit show he had to deal with in the second year. So I don't blame. It's the same thing. I give him a pass, just like I give Tyree Wilson the pass, Jeff. Last year was really Tyree's real first rookie year.
He's been on this team. What? This is going into his
third
year.
So
now, right?
Yeah, so Tyree and Aiden are in the same.
He's had 4 offensive coordinators already. He's on his 4th one now at Chip Kelly. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
He's had 4. And it's almost the same shit that Derek Carr went through when he was here. How many offensive coordinators and head coaches did he go through? Because we couldn't keep continuity with coaches. Yeah, I know Gruden wasn't really like a firing. It was because of some stupid thing he said, when he wasn't even a coach in the NFL, but they still nailed him for it. He did the right thing by stepping down. I get it. It took the spotlight off the team, and it made sense. I get that. So that wasn't a firing. But all the other coaches that were fired when Carr was here as our quarterback, all the different coordinators, that doesn't help a team. Hopefully we've got consistency and continuity for the next few years, as long as Pete Carroll's here and whoever he's got on his staff that's going to take over when his time is up. We've got him for 3 years guaranteed, 4th year team option.
Yeah, so he could be 78. If he can make it to 78 years old, then that's fine.
I don't see why he can't, to be honest with you. I mean, he's such an easygoing dude. He doesn't look like he gets stressed over anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of those guys where you look at him and go, there's no way he's the age that they say he is. He's got to be in his 60s. No, he's 70-something years old. I hope I'm still like that when I'm 70 if I live that far.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And I think too, Jason, like what makes this draft fun is my expectations. I think last year I expected too much from the Raiders, and then it was disappointing. Versus this year, I believe is there a world in where I believe the Raiders will make it to the playoffs? Yes, because all the signs can point to it. Like in the last 5 years, every stadium that's hosted WrestleMania has also gone to the playoffs. I'm just going to throw that out. If we don't go to the playoffs, we'll be the first team in 5 years that hosted WrestleMania that did not go to the playoffs. So I believe
you're going with that. Okay.
I'm going to go with that one, right? But also, Jeff, all right, no, I'm going to keep throwing it at you. I also believe that
let's host WrestleMania every year then at Allegiant.
Yeah.
Shit.
No.
Gonna hit one of these years.
No, Jeff, but I also believe that because we have 9 picks and our team, like Spy Tech did some good things on the offseason with the team so far. Geno Smith's a good enough quarterback to get us to the playoffs. He did it with Seattle. He almost did it this year with a shitty O-line. He almost got him to win the division with a shitty O-line. All right. So I believe that Geno Smith could do it. I also believe that worst case scenario, for whatever reason he gets injured throughout the year, the depth of having Aiden O'Connell is a good thing, not a bad thing. That he can just, take over for 2, 3, 4 games, whatever, and get us over, right? And I honestly believe that if Wilkins doesn't get injured, and Crosby doesn't get injured, our defense, that front line, man, that's a scary front line, guys. That's a very scary front line.
I just think O'Connell's too valuable to trade away.
Right.
I know people will be like, oh, we could get a third rounder for him or whatever. I want draft picks, but I also don't want to get rid of our only legit backup.
Right.
Seriously. That means whoever you're drafting is possibly going to be a backup.
Right. Right.
You better put a force field around Geno Smith or we're fucked. Plain and simple.
Right.
You know, and he's on a rookie contract. You don't trade away someone that's on a rookie contract, especially.
Well, that's why I was saying about Tyree Wilson. But you're like, oh, I want to trade him away. He's still in the rookie contract. We don't trade him right now. Remember, him and Aiden O'Connell were drafted in the same year, Jeff. So that's why I don't want to trade Tyree yet. It's like it's not worth it, man. We saved like $500,000 to trade Tyree, unless again
I'm not looking to trade him either. I mean, you're still paying peanuts for him for what he's producing. So I mean,
right.
At this point, you got to stick it out with him.
Yeah, and I'll say this too: like we only signed Malcolm Kuntz to that 1 year. I think the price was a little steep, but whatever, right? If they really believe in Malcolm Kuntz that much, and that's fine, whatever. But there's so much. The reason why I thought it was a little steep, honestly, is we have the number 6 pick, and I just told you the edges are crazy good this year. There's so many good edges this year, man. There's that Mike Green guy. We might have gotten Mike Green in the second round anyways, right? And at which point, what if that guy ends up being better than Kuntz? So to kind of like give him that guarantee, we only have $42 million left right now, and we still have to restructure Colton Miller. So, man, I was hoping we could have gotten Kuntz for like 8. $8 million was kind of like my all right, we'll give you a shot, sure. But whatever, man. We gave him to 12. So I was just trying to say that our front line is going to be so scary. And the other thing, my hot take, Jason, that people hate me for saying this, is I think DeCamarion Richardson next year is going to be like the Jacorian Bennett. Where you know how like everybody hated Jacorian Bennett in his rookie year, then all of a sudden in his second year he was awesome. I think DeCamarion Richardson is going to be that this year. I think that's part of the reason why you're not hearing too many experts saying that the Raiders are going to take a cornerback. Just because I think the Raiders kind of have an idea of what they want to do with cornerback. Although I wouldn't hate Jedi. If Barron somehow ends up a Raider, I wouldn't hate that. That kid's pretty good. Have you seen Jedi Barron, Jason, from Texas?
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's pretty good, man. I wouldn't hate it. Would not hate that at all.
He's on my DB list for sure.
Oh,
but
I had my break, but people over there on Instagram, like Steampunk is saying, oh, we get to watch Captain Jack eat. Fuck you, okay, because I needed to eat because I'm going to be going away for about 5 days, and that's why I put my hair back into a ponytail because love the long hair, but the bad thing about having long hair is that invariably you end up eating it. So it probably looks like ass, but it's just so it gets up out of there. And again, we welcome everybody here. You're saying, who the fuck is this guy and why did he come back? This is the draft show with people that actually know what the hell is going on with prospects in the college ranks. Again, there will be a show Thursday. I will be at the draft, and I'm going to ask very nicely from Angelo if I can come in. If I'm able to, I will do some.
As long as your Wi-Fi is good. As long as the Wi-Fi is good. The Detroit one was okay.
Yeah, the Detroit one sucked, but we'll see. I don't know if they have Wi-Fi in Green Bay because it's such a small town that maybe I think they have mice going on the treadmill just to keep their Wi-Fi going. Yeah, right. Out there. It's kind of like my watch just told me
Green
that
Bay last week. You know that, right? They didn't just settle in Green Bay.
It was 3 weeks ago. I swear it was 3 weeks ago. But again, thank everybody for being here. And so I had to eat. And by the way, Gentlemen, we could do this show for everybody, but my ass is leaving at midnight because I have to pack my other bag and I have to get a little bit of sleep because I got to get up early to get to the airport to go to Appleton. So Angelo and Jeff and Jason, anybody else here, you guys have carte blanche, but I'm out of here at midnight. I just wanted to make that announcement. So that's up to you.
I'm ready to call
But I didn't mean to put a major, thud in that. Go ahead, sir.
Cap. And we just want, and again, the whole point of the show was in the first 2 hours, we really got to kind of settle in on where we're at and where we're going to be, and the excitement really for the draft. Talent wise, there are so much talent. The one last thing I kind of want to throw out to the group is I mentioned Ricky White. We haven't really talked wide receivers too much, and I think that when we're getting to that fourth, fifth, maybe possibly third round, we got to talk about wide receiver. I kind of like this Savion Williams kid. Is anybody else with me about this 6'5"? Yeah. All right. Jason, what do you like about the Savion Williams kid other than the fact that he looks like Megatron?
Well, I'm gonna just take it a step back. So my plan for the first round, right, was the trade backs, right? We talked about trade back. So my ultimate trade back takes us to like anywhere like 15-ish, where we can still get Matthew Golden. So bam, that's all.
Okay.
Wide receiver.
Wow.
And
Matthew Golden is your guy, huh? Okay.
Yes, sir.
You like him better than Tetro and McMillan?
I do.
I do like too.
I love his route running. It's so smooth, and like the boy's got hands. He gets it over double, double coverage, all that. But like I just love his route running because he's so smooth and he doesn't miss. He don't miss. And like I said, I would trade back, and that would get us those seconds. And then that way we can get the Henderson, Jurgens, whatever we want to do. We can get Zabel, and we can take care of a lot more needs than we can. We can, get some compact needs taken care of. But to answer your question, yes. If, say, that doesn't work out, I love Savion Williams' speed. I like how they used him, not just for, out wide, but like in reverses and, stuff, sweeps and stuff like that. So he's definitely a weapon for sure.
And I think we could get him into third. I mean, he might fall that far. What do you think, Jeff? Savion Williams?
You know what? I haven't. Wide receiver is not my strength. Just like defensive backs, I'm more of a trenches guy. I'll look at the running backs, quarterbacks, and shit like that. My thing with the wide receiver, after watching the combine, do I think we're going to get a number one wide receiver out of this draft? Probably not. I don't see it. I don't think we're going to have a shot at that type of guy, to be honest with you, first of all, because of what we need. As long as whoever we draft a wide receiver, as long as they can fucking catch the goddamn ball, and they're not 5'2", and they're not 5'2". We need somebody that's 6 foot plus.
Hey, listen.
We've already got the lollipop guild in the wide receiver room as it is right now. It's outside of Jacoby Myers. We need some tall,
Savion Williams.
Tall guys. Huh?
Oh, sorry. I was saying, Jeff, Savion Williams is 6'4", 225.
Perfect. Grab him.
Yeah, there you go.
He's tall. Outreach.
Jaden Higgins too. Big,
Higgins
big
is the
receiver.
one that I was really impressed with. That he's the only one that kind of stood out at the combine.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is with these wide receivers, they're all pretty much almost like I think outside of T-Mac, maybe Higgins, I feel as though they're all kind of even keel. I know late option is the kid from UNLV. What's his name? Nash.
Yeah, Ricky White.
Ricky White.
Sorry, Ricky White.
Yeah.
Who's the one? Nash.
Yeah.
I heard that.
That's San Jose State.
No, Nash is from San Jose State. He's good too.
So then it's Ricky White. That's what it is. Because I've grabbed him a few times in my mock drafts.
Yeah, no, Ricky White. So just so that you know, since I know a lot about that kid, I got to watch him all year. He's the special teams player of the year. He got the most punt blocks and punt blocks and all of that. And he is a really good wide receiver, can catch the ball, a good possession guy. And like I said, he's probably going to go in like the 5th or 6th round anyways. And if we take a Vegas kid, I'd love it. There's also from UNLV, there's Jackson Woodard, there's Whitmore, there's all these great players. There's the one kid that I always talk about because he's Filipino. I got to do it, Kev. But there's this Filipino kid that grew up in Tracy, California, Jason. His name he grew up in Tracy. He's a Bay Area kid. He's the starting tight end of the UNLV running Red Bulls. He's going into the draft. He's 6'7", Jeff. This is a tight end. 6'7".
We don't need this tight end. Why are we talking tight end?
No. Just listen to me. Listen. This is a seventh. I just gotta throw it out there because he's Filipino.
We're gonna go 3 years in a row drafting the tight end.
He's 6'7", 270. He can block. He can catch. He's got good speed. He's gonna go to somebody, but his name is Kaleo Balungai. Kaleo Balungai. Everybody from UNLV, you're gonna hear his name get called.
Can he block?
That's fine, but not to us. Because the last thing we need is another tight end.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: if the kid's Filipino, he's got a lot of big. Okay, there's some cross blood in him there, Angelo. 6'7" and 270.
Yeah,
bullshit. There's some.
Well, I'll say right now, we might have to grab a tight end if we can't get a top wide receiver because that's all we're going to be able to do is just stack the O line and just fucking run the ball. Jesus Christ! It's going to be 5 down offensive linemen and 3 tight ends out there on every freaking play.
But again, it's pretty.
As long as it fucking works, I don't care. Yeah, as long as it works, I don't care.
Even when we're talking about wide
Delaware
receivers,
wing tee out there.
Even talking about wide receivers, though, right, Jason? Like there is so much talent that we could be drafting some late gems for wide receivers. Remember, we have 3 6-round picks. 3 6-round picks. We could use that to trade up to back to the 5th. We could do all kinds of stuff with it, and that's why more picks is better. I last year we were able to get our first 3 round picks are all starters, right? Bowers, JPJ, Glaze. So hopefully, that kid from Stanford.
Yep.
Alec Ayamanor. Yeah. He's good too. Yeah. A minor. Is that what it is? A minor. A minor.
Hey, you notice that's the only position that they're not really talking about is wide receiver. We've heard everything. We've heard everything, but they haven't said anything about wide receiver.
Yeah, no,
it's only been the experts bringing up T-Mac here and there, but when the narrative fit, they were pushing Shador on us, and then now it's like, well, one of the needs is running back. So now every mock draft you see out there from these experts is, they're going to take Genty now. Everybody's slating us to take Genty.
Right.
When we had the early picks in the first, in the first round, when we were like the first or second pick, when we were just complete ass and losing games left and right, everybody had us taking Shador or Cam Ward. Cam Ward, if he falls to us at 6, hell yeah, I'd take him in a hot beat.
Yeah.
That would be the only quarterback in this draft that I would grab.
Yeah, of course.
The first round.
That I wouldn't be upset
that I
at
won't
either.
deny.
Actually,
but
if Cam Ward fell to 5, I would who's that? Jacksonville? If Cam Ward fell to 5, because Jacksonville would hold that hostage, right? I tell Jacksonville, because they wouldn't even draft Cam Ward, considering that fucking Golden Boy has not really shown himself. So they say, hey, just because they have a quarterback, they wouldn't draft him. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. So I would package up something really good just to go up 1 if Cam Ward were to fall to 5. I don't think he is, but in the alternate universe, Marvel, whatever, I package a whole bunch of shit for Cam Ward.
The last thing I want to do is lose draft picks in this draft. I don't want to move up. I'd rather move back and gain picks. We need every pick we can get.
Yeah,
right.
We can't afford to lose them.
And that move 6, 9 to 12, and again, like if you were talking about going to 19, that's way out of my range. But I'd go 6, 9, 12, pick, all these extra picks. If I was to trade with the fake Pirates at 19, trust me, I would be making sure that I'm getting very, very rich off the Bucks. Very, very rich off the Bucks.
And there's going to be a lot of moves, right? There's going to be a lot of movements going back, going forth. We're going to see, it's going to be very shocking if everybody stays exactly where they're at. I wouldn't be surprised if, like somebody said it earlier, if somebody wants Genty so bad they're willing to trade above the Raiders. Maybe the Cowboys are that crazy that they'll trade with the Jaguars to go get Genty.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's quite a few trades in the first round, to be honest with you. Amongst many teams involved. I would not be shocked at all. I wouldn't be surprised if 2 out of the first 4 picks or 5 picks trade out of that spot.
I hope it's us.
Right. Yeah. No. Well, here, final prediction.
Him out with the opinions.
So and thank you, Edward. It has been a really cool show, and I know Cap's got to go anyways. So, how about final predictions? Let's start with Captain Jack. Where do you see it happening, Cap? What's going to happen on draft day, Thursday, when you're there?
I really think that the Raiders are going to trade back. I really think that that's going to happen because that's a lot of the smoke coming out, that don't be surprised, because this is about the time you start seeing things and hearing things that actually make sense and actually happen. Okay. Not the Shedeur Sanders shit, not the Genty shit. And I will go with Mr. Dell. If Graham falls to 6, I think that's the pick. I really do. But other than that, and maybe if Hunter falls, they'd go for Hunter. But other than that, I think that the Raiders are going to say, okay, you see who's been drafted 1 through 5. Who wants that guy? Okay, Cowboys, do you want that guy? Oh, by the way, Saints, who are drafting at 9, and I think the Saints would actually draft Jackson Dart 6. I know that that's a little bit of an overdraft, but if you put somebody in the seats that has a great potential, and he played at Ole Miss, okay? There you go. So if the Saints want to go and get their quarterback and it's not Shedeur Sanders, I think it might be Jackson Dart early in that 6th pick, and then we trade back to 9. And then, God forbid, if Genty is there at 9 and the Cowboys hadn't traded up to 5 to go get him, if Genty's there at 9, yeah, Dallas will be, oh my God, they'd have a fucking orgasm. You'd see the camera in the war room in Dallas, and all you wouldn't be able to see anything because there'd be a bunch of jizz coming at you because the Genty's still on the board and it's the Raiders pick. Yeah, I know I'm sick, but I just need to say it. But yeah,
this show went off the rails, guys.
Well, I've kept it pretty much not doing it, but I got to be me. But
the seaman is talking about seaman.
Yeah,
the seaman is talking about
the Navy,
seaman.
so no, the chief, the Navy chief, not the Kansas City Navy chief is talking about seaman. But anyway,
oh man,
but yeah. Good bet.
All right, so Kevin's predictions
but
are Jerry Jones.
Raiders are trading back. That's what I think.
Okay.
And
so Kevin Jack is saying Raiders are trading back. And Raiders are trading back. That's Captain Jack's final predictions. And Jerry Jones is going to jizz
all over. There's going to be nothing but sticky white on the cameras, man.
All right. Jason, final predictions before I see you again on Thursday. Give it to me, brother.
I hope we trade back. Hope we trade back, get more picks, and build this team up.
And you want Matthew Golden, right?
Yeah, Matthew Golden mid first, and then we do our damage in the second.
All right. All right.
Right.
That might be the most original one because nobody said wide receiver for the Raiders for the first pick. So that's possible, man. Matthew Golden is projected, according to Daniel Jeremiah, he is like 10 slots better than Tetro McMillan. So Matthew Golden might be the first wide receiver off the board.
He's one of the few that I respect that does mock drafts. Him, Bucky Brooks, and Peter Schrager are the three that I kind of pay attention to. Peter Schrager is usually right on the money.
Oh, yeah, Schrager. Yeah, Schrager's not bad.
But you see that he left the NFL Network? He's going to be with ESPN now.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, his last show was a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
all right.
more money.
All right. All right, Jeff, final predictions for you?
Graham will trade back. That's what my prediction.
The Raiders will trade back? And
Graham, or they're going to trade back.
Oh, Graham. We'll either take Graham at 6.
Which means they're not going to do anything that we just picked as predictions. They're going to come out of somewhere. Yeah. I don't care. As long as it's not a Leatherwood pick or a Tyree pick, granted, we could still fuck it up in the first round, but it's going to be almost impossible. You'd have to reach for somebody that's ranked in the 50s to totally screw up this first round pick.
Right.
But it's been done before. Remember,
and again,
we picked the kicker in the first round once.
Yeah, but see, I know, and I speak for you, Jeff. We've seen that shit. Yeah, Darius Hayward Bay comes to mind. Okay, but I don't think that the brain trust with Brady in the ear of Spytek, who's up with Pete Carroll, with Chip Kelly there. They're not going to fuck up this wet dream. They're gonna do solid or trade back.
Guys like us, and some of the older fans that are in the chats and everything, they can expect shit like that. That's what I'm getting at. Some of these younger fans will be like, the Raiders pull something stupid and they'll be like, what the fuck? And then we'll all be like, well, I'm not surprised. We've done this before, Not so much with the current regime, but, you go back 5-6 years and you look at some of these picks that we made and you just shake your head going, but what are you going to do?
Well, all right. I'll end it off, Cap, so you could say the goodbyes. What I want is for us to, if we get the 6, I don't think Mason Graham's going to be available. I'm sorry. He's just that good. If he is available and we pass on him, then we can have an entire show and talk about why in the hell did we pass on such a great
We'll be doing it that night right there.
Yeah, but what I would like is the Cowboys, just like Cap says, is just so hot and heavy for Genty that we trade back with the Cowboys. So my hot take will be the Raiders will get 2 first-round picks to trade back because they want that talent so bad. And then I want us to take either a Will Campbell or a Armand Membu or a Kelvin Banks, someone that's a day one, put him in at guard right away, left guard, and then eventually become a left tackle in the future. That's what I wanted last year. As you guys remember, Jason and Captain, you guys remember I wanted Fuaga. We didn't give Fuaga. I was correct about Fuaga.
I did too.
Yeah, I was totally right that he was going to be a day one starting left tackle of the future, and that's what he ended up becoming. So I would like someone like that for the first round. I know it's not sexy. I know you guys hate that I always want to O-line, but that's really who I think we need to get. We need to get an O-line. So that's it. That's it for me. And then the rest, of course, is what me and Jeff worked on. Running backs in the second, wide receivers in the third, and so on and so forth, So that's it for me, Cap.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank you, Angelo. I want to thank Jason for popping in here. I want to thank Big Jeff for popping in. Thom, T3 for coming in as well. Again, people were saying, where's the link? Where's the link? No. This is not your normal I put up, and I thank everybody for trying to come in, but I wanted the talking heads that actually know about particular things in the draft. I'm not one of them. I just throw out opinions of different things to try to keep it interesting. Hopefully I wasn't lost on anybody, and also semen jizz on the screens, something like that. Or the fact that there was no, porn in the background. Like I said, I turned that off before the show, so that wasn't just there. But again, be here Thursday. And it's definitely, and Angelo, you can run it earlier. You can run it earlier, just at 9 o'clock. Yeah, just click on Roku. Roku is the 9 o'clock. You can run it earlier, and if you can add Roku, if you know how to do that without running it from Jump. I don't know how you can do that, but we'll do it. Well, remember, be here. Jeff will have his show there, and Real Talk Radio. Yeah, it might be maybe Jason. Mason Graham is
join us. You're going to join us after your work, right, or after your school or whatever.
Yeah, I'll be. Jeff, I think I'm on with Jeff and Chris. I think that night.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have on my end. It's gonna be myself, Chris Faritas, Jason, Nate, LV Raider 10, who's my Thursday night partner, and Wednesday night partner, along with Jay from Just Raiders Baby. So me, Chris, Jason, Jay, Nate. So that's 5 right there. Afakasi's going to jump in too. So that'll be 6 out of the 10 that I can host in there. So I know Rundown's doing his thing, and he's going to have a bunch of people in there. So that's why we split studios, because there's no way we'd be able to get everybody in the same one. There's just too many people.
Jeff, can you just connect the Captain Jack channel to yours when you start it?
We can figure something out. We can work on it. Are you around tomorrow during the day?
Yeah, tomorrow. Are you doing something?
Hit me up tomorrow. We can test it out and see what we can do. We'll play around.
Cool. Yeah, because what time are you starting it?
Well, I want to go on at 6:30. Kind of do like a type thing, like get everybody in the channel, and people can pop in when they're ready to pop in. But at least Chris and I are going to start the channel or start the show. Jason, I don't know when you're available on Thursday.
I'll be home by like 4 p.m. like Cali time. So
7 o'clock my time. So yeah, you'll pretty much be in almost from the get go.
So Jeff, maybe what we could do if you're available is jump on with me to start the Captain Jack show at 6, and then you could fade to your show.
Figure out like tomorrow. Yeah. Hit me up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I have to go out like around 2 o'clock my time. I got to take my wife to her physical therapy for a knee surgery she had. So
yeah, we can do it after.
Prior to that, after whatever, just text me my number, and we'll.
Yeah, we can play with it.
We can play around with it.
Yeah, we could do an impromptu show if you want to. Kat, are you going on tomorrow? You're not doing the Violator and Rough Guru show tomorrow?
We haven't. We can't until the season. That the Wednesday shows. Obviously, Jack will be doing Wild West if they have. I'm sure they'll have a Wednesday show. So Jack will be doing Wild West, plugging into this, but it's not going to be. Or I don't think that the feed will be where it would interfere. I don't think so. So.
Yeah, well, we can do it during the day because I've got my Raider Connection show tomorrow night, so I won't be able to do anything tomorrow night. I've already committed.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, because that would be great, Jeff, if we could just start the Captain Jack show together on Thursday, and then you could just bleed that right into your show. That's perfect.
Yeah, that'll work. We can figure something out.
All right, cool. All right,
as long as I don't get any more fucking strikes, Angelo, because I did that. Was it the course that you have to do when you fuck up at the driving course and you get? I'm still on probation. it doesn't go away
Okay.
because I didn't do it right away. So I'm just saying, I love you, brother, but it's like no more probation hits, man. I'm still on probation, okay, and I don't go off of it for a while. Yeah,
The only thing we're going to talk about on Thursday night for sure is the way we're going to handle our draft pick in the channel and in the chat. So, like, we're going to have to, everybody that's on the panel will switch over to the private chat. So you're not seeing the regular chat. And we're going to mute everybody's going to mute whatever they're watching. And if I'm running the whole thing, I'll have my sound on my TV so we all hear it at the same time. Because if I'm on a delay or you're on a delay, this way here we can all react at the same time. And then as soon as the pick's made, then we can bring everybody, go back to the regular chat and everybody can go back to whatever sound.
Right.
Spoils it. That's the whole big thing is I don't want anybody in the chat spoiling it if they're so far ahead of us or whatever.
Well, the thing is, Jeff, just so that you know, I don't think we have to worry about that because our pick will already get taken before our shows even go on. The draft starts at 5.
I'll be on already. I'm talking Eastern time, 6:30.
Oh, you'll be on at 3:30. Perfect. Okay, cool.
3:30 your time. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. Cool. Amazing. Great.
That's the time I set it for because it starts at 8:00 my time. The actual.
All right. So you'll be doing a lot of pre-draft talking then before.
Yeah, we'll just be shooting
the
shit,
actual
kicking around things and everything. So.
All right. Cool. Yeah, we'll experiment with it tomorrow. I didn't know you meant 3:30 your time. That's perfect. Awesome.
No, I always go my time. Sorry.
All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. No. We'll talk about that.
Well, fucking Filipino, just do the math and just add 3 hours. What the fuck? Aren't you supposed to be good with math?
See, that's another racial. Look, man, it's the Chinese people that are good at math.
I forgot to carry the one. I'm sorry. I forgot to carry the one. That's my fault.
Captain Jack gets away with it because he gets away with it because his wife's Filipino. So it's not considered racist coming from him.
Well, but my wife is a Filipina. Because if my wife was a Filipino, that would make me a bakla.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
It's true.
All right, guys, this has been fun.
Yeah, salute.
Thanks, chat. Thank you for the super chats tonight.
Gentlemen, thanks again.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, got good. Awesome. I tried to acknowledge them so that they went up on the screen. So good to see. And again, thank you everybody. You guys are always welcome to come over to my channel as well. It's diverse. It's different from Jeff's stuff. And yeah, you got to put up with me, but that kind of goes without saying. Hopefully I would gain your trust in such a way. I am a different cup of tea, but we'll see. But again, I thank everybody for being here, and I'm not kicking anybody out. If you guys want to pop, I'm just going to go from the bed. We're gonna leave, and I'm just keeping everybody on here. We all appreciate, all of us plus Thom appreciates everybody that came in tonight, and I got to go pack. I will be on a flight tomorrow to Appleton, and then like I said on Thursday I will be up at the draft. Hopefully I can get some TV time so I can be there railing on with a good pick. And again, who the pick is, when it is, to be determined.
If we see you, we'll shout.
We hope so. We hope so.
Like, look at that old salty.
Okay, cool. Again, I'm not in the inner circle, so I'm going to have to work up to get into the inner circle because I'm not anybody that is worthwhile, according to the Las Vegas Raiders, to be in the inner circle. I'm just saying. Oh, I got my fucking. I got my scooter, dude. I'm bringing my scooter
too. Use that as to move people. Just whack them. You can't.
I do have my cane. I will have my cane, Jeff. I'm just saying. But I'm going to be I'm going to be taking my scooter there. I would take my power chair. I just got my power chair today, but I don't have the bag for it. So that's why I'm not going to take the power chair until I got the bag for it, because the airlines fuck up my scooter. So even with the bag. So that's why
you need to put
I'm
a
going
train
to
horn
put
on
the power chair down.
That'll get people to move. Whack a train horn on there.
Well, it's not getting people to move. It's getting fucking baggage handlers not to fucking throw it in like the fucking gorillas you used to see on the Samsonite commercials. They have no fucking clue. They have no fucking clue. Yeah, well, go look it up, guys. It's Samsonite or American. Actually, it's American Tourister. I was wrong. It's American Tourister. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. We're gonna pop out, and we'll see you tomorrow on this channel, and we'll see you Thursday on this channel. It's gonna be a great time, so we'll see you then. Fuck.